All right, welcome to the Nonqay podcast. Today we have a real special guest, and we're real honored to have him. Shit, we've been having a lot of like really neat guests, man, and so we're blessed. We're blessed. So we have Sachoua here with us today. Sachoua, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Sachoua. People know me by Ninja Sushi, my food truck, but we actually rebranded to Ninja Street Foods.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Maybe you caught that recent wave of me posting a bunch of cooking videos. Might know me from there. Otherwise, yeah, just a cool guy, just chilling.
Yeah.
Like
And
to,
very
yeah.
cool guy.
Yeah.
You're a popular guy in the community, man. Like
I've seen you around
everybody
for a while.
knows you. Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, I was telling
it's-
Peng, I actually met you around 2015.
Yeah.
Right when you started your food truck. I think it was because you started that food truck in 2015, no?
It was
Right around that time, 15, 16.
No. At that time, I was just doing a lot of community service
Oh, okay.
work, and that's kind of how we met each other. But I actually didn't start the food truck until 2017, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
17.
Yeah,
I thought it was a
17.
lot earlier.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
been a long time.
Yeah,
It's
but
been
That is a long time.
Yeah,
Time
yeah,
moves quickly.
yeah. You're still
Yeah.
early in the food truck game. Like you were still one of the pioneers.
Yeah, one of
would
the
you say?
pioneers. Like to see myself as that in the food truck game. Although respects to everyone who did come before me. But yeah, I think I could call myself a pioneer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
think one of the interesting things that you were doing, and I think one of the reoccurring themes of our podcast is like I think you were able to combine business and then also social media. And I think we live in an age where it's
Yeah.
like social media, you have to have a social media presence if
yeah.
you want to have a viable business. And I
Yes.
think you were able to
Yeah.
mesh the two really
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I feel like I've gotten better at that.
Yeah.
And and I was just telling you too earlier that I'm just kind of in this point in my career and in my life where I want to do something different and something that revisit like old ideas I used to have, and I'm just in a good spot for that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and like I said, yeah, thanks. I appreciate you making that comment to be
Yeah.
able to combine social media and work, real life work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and then I like that idea of like revisiting these new ideas because actually, the more I think about it, the farm was like
Yeah.
I'm farming now and like
That's awesome.
that was like an old idea I had a long time ago. And then there was
still wanna
always
farm.
this crazy idea that I had, like, and working with bees, I was
Yeah.
always interested in it. But
Nice.
then I just was like, all right, now that I'm farming, it just kind of makes sense that I just get bees.
Right.
Especially if this was something that I've always
Yeah.
wanted to.
Right.
Two, were you always into cars?
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked cars.
Yeah.
I think it was never, but I never thought I'd open a business around cars, like, to be honest. That's just something that my cousin drew me into. And
Okay.
I had washed cars in the past, but, I washed cars probably no different than everybody washed cars, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
soap and all that. So that's how I used to wash cars. And then I get exposed to a whole new world. And I just
Yeah.
kind of, have been geeking out about it for the
Yeah.
last 8 years, and so
Yeah.
it's gotten to where it is today. But yeah, no, but it was never my idea of opening my business happened overnight.
Okay.
It wasn't
Yeah.
like something I thought
Yeah.
about for a long time. But I do appreciate when there's people who have thought of ideas for a long time. I don't.
Yeah.
My only idea as a kid was to be a pro soccer player.
Right,
And so
right,
that never clearly was never gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's all right.
so we eventually got to this. But no, yeah. But going back to the social media thing, yeah, I see you all the time using it. I've seen you using it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I think you've always had a good grasp of understanding how important it is to be utilized.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's partially for us, our personalities, or if it's even our generation as well.
Yeah.
Part of it is
Right.
we probably grew up playing on. I'm 35, but I grew up before a smartphone. But at the same time, I grew up in the smartphone.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's
the
not.
transition of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So we're not like 50, 60, where we pretty much grew up in it too. We're
Right,
not obviously
right.
like
Yeah.
I think when
like
it,
your
when
daughters
it came
or-
out,
yeah,
when
we're-
the smartphones
yeah,
came
we
out,
were
we
teens.
were like
Yeah, we were
teens,
teens,
like,
so
yeah,
we're learning
yeah.
about it already.
Right,
So
right.
Yeah. So we're not completely foreign to it. There are like ideas now, like that I would say, man, it's getting tougher and tougher for me to grasp. Just like this whole editing thing, right? We just recently took on an intern, which you guys will meet eventually. But like I think his understanding of how to make videos, how to edit videos, how to cut them together.
Yeah.
It's just so much better. Like, cause he
Right.
puts out so much better content than I do.
Yeah.
You know, and like I'm still super primitive, and I think he's like using AI technology.
I
to
think
kinda
the
do
hardest part
that.
now is to how do you make yourself stand out though, because I
Yeah.
feel like everybody has a basic
Yeah,
understanding now.
just not
Yeah.
stand out, but relevant.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
relevancy is the big one too.
Yeah.
yeah.
And Sachoua, like back to you, like I've known you for quite a while
Yeah,
now.
I feel like you and I, we met sometime between 2012, 2013.
Back in the day.
Back in
Well,
the
my
day,
first day,
yeah.
I remember meeting you the first time. We were at Checker Bars,
Uh-huh.
actually.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. I still have the picture.
Rest in peace. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I still have-
Every
we
once in a
took a
while, like,
picture. Yeah.
yep. So,
Yeah.
we were at Checker Bar. My man Laura was like, "Yo, that's when I was working out a lot.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like big and stuff, and I was still bodybuilding. My man Laura was like, "Yo, I went to high school with this guy. He wants to meet you. Yada yada." I was like, "Oh shit, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah." And then you came up. You bought us a shot.
Yeah.
Yo, we hung out, chatted a little
Yo.
bit. You were a cool dude.
Yeah.
And then you were into fitness too.
Right.
And so we worked out a few times. I
Yeah.
remember when I still have
Yes.
like the photos of us in the locker room.
Yeah,
Yo.
yeah.
Yo,
Yeah, man, it's cool, man. And that part of my life, that phase of my life was very, very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very fun. It's like
Yep.
my mental and physical energy level at that time was just through the roof.
Yeah. Because
I
you're working
felt-
out all the time
yeah,
and you're
felt
like
good
super
mentally
motivated,
and
young.
physically young.
What
Yeah,
were we,
20 years old?
Early
20 at the
20s,
time?
yeah, it was
man.
early 20s.
Maybe
No,
before then too. I don't know.
No.
No. We were at Checker Bar. So
yeah. So I
we
would
were
have
at Checker
been
Bar.
21,
about
22,
21,
yeah.
21, 22
Yeah.
about that time. You know,
Man,
yeah.
good times.
Did I ever tell you I was NASM CPT as well?
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, you
yeah.
went and got
Nice.
certified.
I
Oh,
went and got
shit.
certified, so
Oh,
it's really
wow,
fun.
yeah.
It was more of a hobby for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I went because I wanted to know and I wanted to know the knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I went to get my NASM. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really fun.
But
yeah.
you're driven. But like this is one of the things that I was really interested in about you is like even early on when you had Fitness Madness,
Yeah.
you were very entrepreneurially
Right.
driven.
Right.
You know, I think you saw something, an opportunity in the fitness world where you could potentially make something of it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think where we were still kind of like, oh, we're just kind of doing this,
Right.
you know, to be doing it.
Yeah.
I think you took it to the next level, and you always had that mindset early on, and I think that's what I always
Oh,
like,
yeah.
really
You
like
know,
admired
those-
about you.
Those traits came at a really young age,
Mm-hmm.
actually. I'll tell you a story. Back in the second grade, I had this reading buddy. So every
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, they would come during lunch to read a book with you.
Yeah.
I was paired up with a guy named Marvin Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin Anderson was my reading buddy at that time.
Yeah.
I didn't know this because I was so young, but he was actually the guy that designed the whole program to get. It was people from the state, from the capital,
Okay.
that volunteers to come and read a book with you. And like I said, he was the guy that organized it. I didn't know it, but then later on in the sixth grade, the summer after the sixth grade, he invited me and my dad to this award ceremony downtown St. Paul. Kiri 11 was hosting it. And he was nominated to receive an award. I forgot what's it called. He was nominated to receive an award. Basically, it was for someone in the community that was making a large impact. He's also one of the founding fathers of the Rondo area by Fronto.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Marvin Anderson and Floyd G. Mayweather, I believe. No, Floyd G. Smaller was his name.
Okay.
Was his partner. And so after that event, I mean, I remember everything about it, just like
Yeah.
it was yesterday. You know, it was like red carpet event. We were all suited up. And when he received the award, he made a speech that included all of us,
Wow.
his old reading buddies. There was like
Yeah.
6 of us there, you know, and
Yeah.
that to me was so amazing. It left like an imprint on me that, you know, when I'm older, which I am older now, I wanted to be recognized
Right.
like that on a level of reputation.
Yeah.
And also on the level of, you know, I'm a good dude, you know.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and that's my story that that's my origin story, built my
Yeah.
entrepreneurial
Right.
spirit to keep myself going. He actually came to me and my wife's wedding.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Yeah. I just
That's-
recently reposted
yeah.
it again. I have a picture of him, and he gave me a picture of us when I was in the second grade.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
the book that we
That's
were
awesome.
reading together. So yeah, awesome
That's pretty
story.
sweet, man.
Right.
Like that's so important to like have those relationships, right? Because like, especially like as a first generation Hmong kids, like our parents couldn't always help us navigate the world. So then we had to find like kind of role models or maybe male figures like elsewhere. I know I definitely like me, like I was involved in Boy Scouts growing up, and it was a big part of my life. And so my scoutmaster kind of played that role, kind of similar to you, where I was able to kind of see what like a positive male figure. Like my wrestling coach was that for me. My high school football coach was
And
in
he should
some
be
sense
proud.
done that. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be proud of
Yeah.
you.
That's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Though. Like, did you grow up with anything like that?
I mean, I was a stubborn ass kid that didn't listen to anything or anyone. But yeah, looking back, not so much through high school. I think it kind of came after.
Yeah.
In high school, I just idolized, my friends.
Yeah.
But I never had a older male figure that I really looked up to.
Yeah.
I think until I was probably like old enough to understand that I should have that. And,
Right,
I mean,
right.
but at the end of the day, it's always going to be.
Yeah.
It always sounds cliche. You always say it's your dad, but to me, it has always been my
Yeah.
dad. It's just that. It's just
sweet,
that up
though.
until I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
about
That's great.
19, 20.
Yeah.
It's just father son. You sometimes you tend to butt
Yeah.
heads for quite some time.
Right.
And once you get past the butting
Yeah.
heads, then you can see eye to eye. So it's always been my dad, but no, when I was a teen, I always tell that to my wife. I'm like, I didn't have a teacher. I didn't have a
Yeah. We talked
mentor.
about that too,
yeah,
yeah,
but
on
that's
the
just
podcast.
because I was such a stubborn kid that I could not listen to anybody or
Yeah.
anyone.
Would you say the military did
Yeah,
that
the
for you?
military. The military
Okay.
changed that
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then it's when you think you know the world, and then you go and you're placed somewhere else across the country without your parents, and you got guys who are 10 years older and you're yelling at you and calling you all the names and physically abusing you.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say abuse; it's training.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
all those things, there comes a time at that point where you realize, like, okay, like it's time to listen to people.
Yeah,
And actually, it's a
yeah.
great skill. I tell that to people all the time, like especially the stubborn kids who don't listen.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to get across them because they're still young, they're teens,
Yeah.
and they're still where they want to be.
Right.
But I always speak about that, like.
Yeah.
Actually, being able to listen is like probably the best skill you could ever learn.
Right,
And not
yeah.
being so
Yeah.
stubborn that, like, it's okay to be stubborn,
Right.
but you have to know how to utilize it and when.
Yeah.
But the rest of the time, when someone's telling you something, you might not like all the advice, but it's better to listen,
Right.
and take what you can from it.
And
you know?
being a people person and being able, like, being likable. I think you
Right.
kind of touched on that a little bit when you were telling us about your role model, right?
Right.
And being a likable person in that community. And I think we've seen, like, that is like, that's like an unmeasurable thing when it comes to like building a brand and building a business, because like we saw that with Koo, right? Where
Yeah.
Koo's just a good guy overall, like very likable dude, and then when you grind hard enough, like I think that comes back and pays you forward.
Yeah.
And I think we see that a lot with you because
Yeah,
like
try to at least.
yeah, because like you're just a really good dude, really likable guy, and the community
appreciate it, man.
responds to
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
like your audience responds to that.
Yeah,
And then
thank you,
there's like
thank you.
yeah, there's like people like I like know that didn't even know that I knew you,
Right.
but like they
Yeah.
they vouched for you and they wanted to support you.
I think I recently
Yeah.
just found out you two know each other.
Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
kind of already know of each other for
Yeah,
a long time.
yeah.
I didn't know that you two knew each
Yeah.
other as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that goes a long way when you're building a brand and building a business. Just because those are your first initial core customer.
Yeah.
Those are gonna get you through that first like month,
Oh,
first
yeah.
year, that first hump.
Right.
Right. And so I think you've done a really good job of like building that. But like branding wise, just because like man, you had Fitness Madness.
Yeah, that was
right. Ninja
cool.
Sushi.
That
Now
was
at
really
one
cool,
point
too.
you
Yeah, I
had
enjoyed that.
a bar. Are you
Oh
still
yeah,
doing
Smoking
that?
Ninjas. No, I'm actually not doing that no more
Okay.
either. Yep. So I built that brand as well. That phase
Yeah.
of my life was so fun.
Man, I bet. So running a bar. Oh,
Yeah,
let's
so
talk
fun,
about that.
man.
Because you took over the old Plan B.
Yeah, the old Plan B.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
branded,
yeah,
called
yeah.
it Smoking Ninjas. That
Yep.
was me and my brother.
Yeah.
you
Is it a
know,
bar restaurant or just a straight up
It was
bar?
a
or-
straight up tavern, no
Oh,
kitchen.
tavern,
Yeah,
nice.
that's why I had the food trucks out there too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
yeah, but
okay.
yeah, man, me and my wife often talk about it.
Oh, yeah?
that we miss it. I do miss the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not that I enjoyed the party, but then I enjoyed the atmosphere of.
Well, it's got to be quite a
Yeah.
social festivity at all
Yeah,
times,
yeah,
right?
it's-
Even if you're
yeah.
drinking or if you're
Yeah,
not drinking,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Right.
I would imagine. I mean, tell me this because
Yeah.
I've never opened a bar before. I can
Yeah.
imagine that if I had a bar, I mean, I'd crack something if I'm at the bar once in a while. It
there's
would be hard
pros
not
and
to.
cons of
Yeah, it would be
Oh,
hard
yeah.
not to. I feel
Yeah.
like if I worked at one, like
Yeah.
not saying I don't have discipline, but if
Right.
I'm working around a bunch of people drinking and I'm the boss and the owner and someone offers me a
Yeah.
cheers,
Yeah.
I'll probably cheer one or two as
Yeah.
well.
I definitely can't.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be honest
I
with
would
you, yeah.
die, and then I would
Yeah.
probably drink
Yeah.
myself. Yeah.
You know, I'll be honest with you. Like I said, the thing to take from this is that I enjoyed actually working the bar. You know,
Yeah.
The actual work itself. But then at the same time, I was also able to enjoy people.
Yeah.
You know, and then the drinks just comes with it.
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
It's a
and-
social thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
hand in
then,
hand.
I tell you this: for the first 6 months of opening
Yeah.
the bar, there was not a day that I was sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's I'm not saying
bet.
that proudly at all.
Right, right, right.
I'm
Oh,
not.
yeah.
And man, it was wild.
But
It
I
was
feel like
that,
anybody who
yeah.
owns a bar, like the reason I ask you this question is because I don't see it being as a thing that is abnormal if you
Yeah.
owned a bar.
Yeah.
Like even if I owned
Yeah.
a restaurant,
Right.
Even a restaurant,
Right.
I would probably still crack a wine
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
It's
do my
almost
thing.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
Physically, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like
almost
someone who's a
unhealthy, yeah.
personal trainer. He probably works out all the time. Someone
Yeah,
who
that's
owns a
just part of
bar
it.
probably
Yeah.
just or
Yeah.
or
Right,
like I
right.
work around cars, so I touch cars. Like it's
Yeah.
they
part
go
of
hand in
work.
hand. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
work.
It's work.
It's work, so-
yeah. But I do miss that lifestyle.
yeah.
I do.
Yeah, man.
My wife and I actually met there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And
Well,
you
actually-
recently got married.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. I actually
congratulations.
know her, as acquaintances since 2014. But when
Okay.
we revisited that friendship, yeah, it was at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So
that was
like
fun.
So
longtime
things-
friend.
Things
yeah.
can happen at the
Yeah,
bar. 'cause
yeah,
people-
great things come out of it, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
great
great
things
things
come
came
out
out. A
the
lot
bar.
of great relationships too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's key because you're meeting
Right.
so many great people. I'm
Right,
sure, and
right.
I'm sure you have your regulars there, and you're
Yeah.
probably just building this like circle,
Right.
That you're
right.
gonna always forever kind of take with you.
Yeah,
everywhere
the
you
bar
go.
is like an entertainment business
Yeah.
as well. So it's really cool to see guys like among artists that they roll through as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being able to actually have a personal conversation with them.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, so
Now-
great things came out of the bar, man. I miss it.
Yeah. Now you got to get them on our podcast.
Yeah.
You got to convince them to come to our podcast.
Oh no, it's
I'm just
simple
I'm just messing with
as
you.
a phone call. So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean they're cool dudes. Just
Yeah,
shoot
yeah.
them a message.
Yeah.
Really cool dude. A
Would
lot
you
of
do a bar again, maybe in your lifetime? Maybe when you're like older, maybe like because
Yeah.
I've met some people like that too. That they did open a bar because they enjoyed the social aspect. Like
Yeah.
I have a friend in Wisconsin in Hayward. His dad opened one, and his dad's like late 50s, but he understood that he's not really in it to make a bunch of money. He's just
Right.
in it to create a space, an
Yeah.
environment that he can enjoy.
Yeah,
Like, you think
that's
that's
what it
something that
should
you
be,
could see
yeah.
yourself doing again at
Yeah,
some point?
of course. I'm a type of guy who loves to revisit old ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was just saying.
Yeah.
And even though this chapter has ended, it's always something I want to revisit. Fun fact: I used to be a mechanic, an auto mechanic,
Yeah.
before I started the food truck. And
Yeah.
one of my
Because
first,
you did diesel mechanic, right? Or,
I
or
did that
big
too.
vehicles? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I did that also.
Okay.
But I was also a mechanic.
Okay.
And and my first business I ever wanted to own was actually an auto shop.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
Like I said, I went to school for it. Ever since I can drive, I've always been into cars.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? Yeah, that's partially where I know you from too.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm also big into.
Well, that's why you go to a lot of car shows.
Yeah, and a lot of car shows.
Yeah.
And then that's why I also get that Godfather's, the Godfather status where they just let me in.
Yeah.
Still,
Okay.
of course, I still pay my fee, but I'm at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really grateful for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, you've been doing it for a while, though.
Yeah, a
For
long time.
The,
A long time.
the very first car show that I think
Yeah.
Yellow has been at, I think I've seen you there, and every other one that I go to,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
tend to see you there.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
definitely,
And I'm just not the food guy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm into that.
yeah.
I'm
You've
into
put
that.
your roots
People-
into that
yeah.
world, and but like you said, we also know that you're a car enthusiast.
You're right.
Like it's
Yeah.
not like
Right.
we just
And I
see
love
you
it.
there and we
Yeah.
just
Love
see
it.
like, oh, he's here to make money.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like for me, I understand that. Of course, he's here to make money
Yeah.
because he has his food truck, but
Right.
he's also here because he likes cars. Because I
Right.
see him at every single car
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
I love
So
it.
it's clear
and
that
my
he likes
boys love
cars.
it.
Yeah.
My boys love it too. So I like to
Yeah.
take them out and check out the stuff I like too. So,
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
hopefully, they can get to it. Like I said, I was a b-boy. I show them b-boy videos all
Yep.
the time.
Yeah.
Try to see what they like, what they don't like. But right now, both of them likes rapping.
Okay.
They like
okay.
rapping.
So
Yeah.
2 boys.
I got 2 boys. Yeah.
How old?
Okay.
Yeah, one's 12, one's 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
12.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, it's you look confused because it's actually my stepkids.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, but
okay.
yeah,
okay.
they're my
They're your
boys.
kids. They're
Yeah,
your kids.
yeah, they're my
your
kids.
Yeah, for
my
sure.
kids.
Of course.
Because
Yeah,
I was like,
people
wait,
always
you just
get
recently
confused,
got
like-
married, right? But,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, they're like, you just got
Okay.
married. You got a 12-year-old. Like, but yeah, but they're my boys,
Yep. That's
yeah,
awesome,
yeah.
man.
So they like rapping right now. But going back to what we were talking about, old ideas. I like revisiting old ideas. And
Yeah.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
I would like to still
Well,
own
I just
a
think
bar.
that you've
yeah.
had the experience already once,
Yeah.
and so you know what it feels like. So
Exactly.
so because you've been in it,
Right.
you can see the positives and negatives,
Yeah.
and so you can when you've done something once, you can also always see the mistakes, and you know how to do them better.
Right.
At the same time, you see the things that are really fun that you'd like to have
Yeah.
again in your
Right.
life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
a bar, I feel like if you know how to do it right,
Yeah.
you don't have to make a ton of money, and you could still have fun doing it.
Right,
Like
right,
I feel
exactly.
like right.
Yeah,
That's a thing that like
you have
I
fun
could see
doing it.
myself
Yeah.
doing that someday.
Yeah.
Like where I wouldn't be like
Right.
stressing to grow it to be like something
Yeah.
where I want to make a bunch of
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
Because I think that'd be
All
probably
it
pretty
takes
hard.
is one time.
Yeah.
You do it one time, you might not be good at it, but you know how to do it again, do it better.
Yeah, do it better, yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, but I was just telling you earlier, I'm just at a point in my career that I just want to do something more passive. More,
Yeah.
Right.
Less labor. you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm building that right now.
Is there such a thing? You know what I'm realizing is,
Yeah.
and you guys are further along than me in the entrepreneur, like, in your entrepreneur experience.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm realizing, man,
Is there such a thing as passive?
is there such a thing as passive income, right? Because
I've been
like,
asking
that's
myself that for a
yeah,
while
where
now.
it's like, man, like, do I,
I think-
ever get to a point where this
Yeah.
becomes financially sustainable
Yeah.
by itself, and I don't have to work? Because like a lot of
Yeah.
people are talking about that, where it's like, whether it's like renting homes or like getting into real estate or getting
Yeah.
into like property management. It's like, is that really passive? Like, is there
Yeah.
really such a thing, or
Right,
like, are you
right.
always just gonna have to grind? Because I'm
Yeah.
starting to get to the point where I accept I'm gonna grind till I'm 70, and I'm just gonna die grinding.
Yeah. Right.
But like,
I believe it.
yeah, I want to
I
believe in it. I want
most
to.
certainly I believe
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because I would like
know,
to think that
and-
all this
yup.
work is for something that
Yes.
at one day I can
Yes.
go, all right, I'm
That's
gonna
how
relax.
that's how you lose motivation.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta keep your eyes on the prize.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like we haven't seen it yet. People
Yeah,
just
yeah.
talk about it, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
will be skeptical about it.
Yeah.
But I believe it. I want to believe it.
Yeah.
I want to. Too,
I want
man.
to
I want
believe
to
it.
too,
Yeah,
man,
I don't care if
but-
it's true or not. I want
Yeah.
to believe
Yeah.
it. That's where I put my faith.
Yeah.
We're like shit. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're,
Yeah,
you're fine to cuss,
This is
dude.
not
You cuss
this is not a children's
plenty.
pod.
Yeah, I'm like
This is
shit.
adult.
I don't care whether it's true or not. I only hear people talk about it, but I want it so bad that
Yeah.
I want it to be true. So
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Right.
And that keeps me going.
Yeah.
And,
Right, right.
Yeah.
No matter what it takes, I'm gonna achieve that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I said, everything has to be built.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything has
Well,
to
that's
be
the thing.
built.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You can build. This is my personal opinion. First of all, I'm more on your side. I don't
Yeah.
believe that there is truly
Yeah.
passive because
Yeah.
even if it,
I mean, you
even
still
if,
gotta put in work.
Yeah, you still gotta put in work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
but you can definitely build it in a way where the system is as passive as possible
Right.
based on what you're willing to do and not do.
Yeah.
Like then I think it's very possible to be passive depending on what you like to do and not do, right?
Yeah.
But yes, I think to build a structure,
yeah.
That
it's gonna
that's the
take
grind.
it's a
Yeah,
hustle,
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
grind. But yes, I think
So
that
get to it.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
everyone's
yeah.
listening,
It's
get
definitely
to
possible,
it.
yeah.
And I'm guessing, have you always had that mindset? Because like, you're always building something. When
You
you
know-
came in, I said and I asked you like, what you've been up to, and you said nothing much. I said I couldn't believe you because you're
Yeah.
always cooking. You always got some kind of idea.
You know,
You know?
it's funny you say. I have a bad habit of like, not that I'm not doing anything. It's just what I do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's kind of automatic.
Yeah,
Where I don't think it's great. It's just what I have to do.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's it's a bad habit for myself to have. But yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
But I love that, and I think that's what
Yeah.
that's what people like about
Yeah.
you is like the fact that you're a grinder.
Yeah,
Like,
you're trying to
work-
get things done.
Yeah.
Like you walking slow, like yo, you
you're
don't got
not
nowhere to
just-
be.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
No, just
You're
kidding.
not
and I
just
saw
standing
that
around.
in you like
Yeah.
early on, and you're
Right.
yeah, and then like you just freaking blew up. You know,
Yeah, I
which is-
appreciate it,
yeah.
man. Yeah, so right. I mean, I guess I'm doing other
Yeah.
things, but
Yeah.
you know, I think it's a good mentality to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good mentality to have. You know, it keeps you moving.
Yeah.
It's when you're not moving, you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do nothing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
relaxation is an addiction.
Right.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
Where do you
Yeah.
think that stems from? Because I have that too, but like
Yeah.
to me, like it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
You know, my wife
Yeah.
always tells me like she's like always like, man, I wish you would just be cool with working 9 to 5.
Right.
Like I can't. Like
Yeah.
I need to be moving.
Yeah.
You know, I need to be
Yeah.
doing something, and I need to be building something for the future.
Right.
Like. But
And I
like, where do
I
you think
it's-
that comes
it's-
from, or
I
where
think-
does yours come
right,
from?
I think in us, you know, I think I heard Chef Ye talk about this a little bit too,
Mm-hmm.
and just around, you know, just close friends of mine,
Yeah.
and they're like, you know, our parents are, you know, they used to hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to just going out there, hard labor, work your company, you know, work the machines, 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
come back home, and that's the only way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where these habits come from, you know. But then
Mm.
the ideas of like passive income, that actually didn't come until later in life,
Right.
You know, and I've done the machine work, you
Yeah.
know. I was a mechanic.
Shit, I'm doing that now.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was like say a physical trainer.
Mm-hmm.
And all those are hard labor. You're
Yeah.
moving. And then I think just very recently with the food truck, I hit this plateau where it's like, man, I'm sick of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, like don't get me wrong, I enjoy the work. I
Yeah.
love the work. I love the business, but it's like, shit, I'm older now. You know, I
Right.
can't be here all the time.
Right.
I have a family. I want to build this part of my life, and then the food truck. You have to give 100% of
Yeah.
your time and your energy.
Yeah.
You know, because it demands you there. It
Right.
demands someone there. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do this much longer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and now I'm thinking of other ways. Hence, you know, my cooking videos, right?
Right.
You know, I do want to step away from the food truck industry or the food industry in general because it's like it's just so demanding. But cooking, you know, as a chef, I still really enjoy that as a hobby too.
Right.
Yeah, right.
You know, I still really enjoy that as a hobby. And how can I make passive income out of this, right? Like
Right.
YouTube videos, Facebook videos,
Yeah.
TikToks. You know, TikTok is on fire, dude.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
on fire. I just
Yeah.
realized that just
Oh yeah.
just a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
It's on fire.
Yeah.
You know, my engagement and the rate of my engagement is so much faster than what it is on Instagram and Facebook
Right.
for reels, dude.
Yep.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. So,
Plug it in. What's
Yeah.
your what's
What
your,
is
what's
the-
your, yeah? What is the TikTok?
What
is
is the
food
handle?
show? Yeah.
oh,
How do they find
yeah.
you?
Yeah.
TikTok, I can never remember my usernames. Is Yo Boy Sach.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep,
my boys
yep.
call me Sach. You know, in my close circle of friends
Okay.
and their friends, they call me Sach for short.
Yeah.
So it's called Yo Boy Sach.
SACH?
Yeah,
SACH?
yup,
Okay.
SACH.
Your boy.
Yo
Sach, so
boy,
go
Yeah,
give him
Yo
a
boy
Boy
follow.
BOY or BOI?
YOBOY.
Okay.
Yeah,
BOI.
I was a little bit too.
At some point, you gotta
Yeah.
stop spelling it BOI, right?
Yeah. Like, oh, this guy from A-Town days.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to stay
yeah.
trendy or you want to
Yeah,
stay.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Your Boy Sach on TikTok.
Yeah.
Your Boy Sach on Instagram.
Nice.
Your Boy Sach on Facebook.
All right. That's
yeah,
tight.
but then
that's
my
tight.
cooking videos and whatnot, they're actually on my personal page.
Okay.
That I turned into the professional mode. So
Okay.
I'm trying to get monetized on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I know you talked a little bit about transitioning out of food or getting that to a point where it can run itself. And I think you guys are kind of in that where you guys are starting to hire people. And then I know you talked about potentially hiring like a manager so that you're not always
Yeah.
have to be here. Like, so you guys are a lot further than I am. Like,
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, like, what is that process? Because, like, man, at one day I would I would love to have somebody handle all of my.
It's letting go of control.
Yeah. And like,
That's what it comes
gotta be
down to.
crazy. Like even
If you want to control everything forever, then how do you think you
oh,
can run a big
dude,
business?
I'm a control freak. Dude.
Yeah.
Like even like.
Then you have to run. I mean, you can always have control, but you also have to let go of control.
Okay.
Like that's the biggest thing I've learned is like if you can't let go of control, then you will always have to have your finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
And then eventually you'll never be able to step back, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying step back in the sense that like you don't pay attention. Of course, you know everything that's happening every single day, but you can be more of a chess player as opposed to an actual
delegate
within the
things
chess
to
board.
people.
Yeah, but that takes a lot of trust, and that takes hiring the people
Building
that
a
you
team.
trust, and sometimes that trust is going to be broken, and sometimes that trust is going to be challenged, and so my last year in business has been a lot more about effective leadership as opposed to like technical skills. Although I'm always trying to develop technical skills, I think the technical skills will never end. But it's much more about like psychology, human relations, and you know. So
because just in this past year, you've hired like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, we went from a year ago. I was just looking at my Facebook. A year ago at this time, it was just me in this shop by myself, and this year we had 5. So yeah, it was a quick jump, and we doubled revenue, we doubled everything, volume and everything. But it's just I don't know. It doesn't feel any. People always say like, "How does it feel like as you get bigger?" Like we were talking about this a little bit, right? Sometimes from the outside. And this is not complaining. It's venting. It's venting from a business. It's venting on a business perspective. Is that every challenge or every success that others on the outside see, they're gratifying to us, but I think they're short-lived. They're very short-lived, right? Like someone will say, "Congratulations on your shop, looks great." And, wow, I saw that you went to Europe and you did this and you did that. And I don't really notice it because it's like you said, it's just me, it's my personality. But when I sit down and I look at it and I'm like, "Dang, we drove 900 miles, 10 shops, 3 countries in 5 days." Like, dang, that's a lot of work. But it doesn't feel like it in the moment. But when I sit back and I look at it and I look at the impact and the toll that it takes on like my wife, for example, right? I'm gone for a week. I'm in Europe all over the place. She's probably wondering like, what country is he in right now? You know, like I put a lot of other people through my own like insanity. But it's just to say that like this business, yes, they do become successful, and yes, there's people sometimes financially get free from them. But the road to get there, we were just saying, and we all 3 of us here are entrepreneurs in our, we're all entrepreneurs, so we understand that like there are moments where we do have glory, where it's like an article or a news thing or YouTube, but most of the time it's just us in our own head, like shit. Things are not moving. And like you're stressing. You're like, and nobody can feel it, right? Even your wife can't feel it. Even your wife can't feel it. She can sense it. But no one can truly feel it besides us in our own heads. So
I agree with you 100%.
That's to grow business. I think that's where I'm at now. You know, it's is like I'm feeling the heat of just what it takes to actually like trying to grow, like legitimately grow. It just depends. It demands more discipline than it ever has before. Also, more of my time.
It's a different way of thinking.
It's a different way of thinking as well.
Definitely different way of thinking.
It's not bad. It's just different.
I love a challenge, a good challenge.
Yeah, it's just different.
It's just another skill that you're building.
But it depends on what you want. Like you said, if you like, honestly, to me, I'm at the point where like I've come to accept that like if. For example, for you, like this is just hypothetical, but let's say you're like, I want to be a beekeeper always, and I'm happy there. Like, I'd rather somebody find where their happiness is at, as opposed to just say, I want to get huge and start selling this at a Walmart and Target, and I want to be a billionaire off my bee. Like, if that's your aim, then I support you 100%. But if your aim is I want to be a beekeeper and stay at the roots of my movement and still be that and influence people about nature and organic living and self-sustainment, like if that's your passion and you go at that, even if it doesn't make a lot of money, to me, I still consider that a success because it's personal, right? Everybody's got a different, everybody's got a different thing.
I would love to get to that point where I just do the animals. I just do the bees. I just do the farm. And then everybody, like, I can have a team that does the marketing. I can have the team that does, like,
sales.
About
how much money. There's a lot of money involved in it.
And so one day, maybe one day, but, like, because that's, what I love to do. It's just like the farming side of it,
For
the
sure.
animal side of it.
Right.
So
And that's
like
yeah,
I want to
that's-
retire on the ranch.
yeah,
what you
dude,
should.
one
Yeah.
day, man.
Yeah, I wanna
One day,
retire on
I'm
the
a.
ranch, man.
The goal is 200 acres up
Yeah.
north,
Hell
cow,
yeah.
cows, horses, and
Hell
everything.
yeah.
I think
you know?
one thing that I just always that doesn't get talked about enough, I think, in the Hmong community, and I'm sorry, I'm making it a little bit more serious, but it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
no.
it's always about money. Like that's the only thing that OGs talk to us about.
Yeah.
You gotta make good money,
Yeah.
and that's great.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying money is not important. Of course, you gotta have money in the society we
Yeah.
live in.
Yeah.
But if you do it without liking what you do, because we were talking
Yeah.
about this earlier
Yeah.
quickly, if
Yeah.
you're doing something you don't love and you make money,
Yeah.
and if you're okay with that, you're good. Like some people are okay with that, right? Some people
Yeah.
are like, I'll do whatever job it takes to make the money, and then I'll figure out what I like to do
Yeah.
with
Right.
the money. Some people are like that,
Yeah.
and then some people are like, where I'm not like that. Like I
Yeah.
cannot just do something for the maximum amount of money and be
Yeah.
like, and then die and be like, man, I made a shit ton of money,
Yeah.
Right,
but
right,
what
right.
did I do while making it?
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all,
Right.
but it
Yeah.
don't matter. I made a bunch of money. So
I think that's why the three of us are in a
It's-
very unique
it's,
position because
Yeah.
like
so give and
we're
take.
we're able to turn, and we talked about this a little bit before the podcast too. Is like we're able to turn our hobbies
Right.
into our business,
Right.
and into our work, and so it is still work, but it's something at least that we enjoy, and it's something that we built, and something that we be proud of. But like Sachoua, like, so how does that look like for you going forward?
Uh-huh.
You know, you talked about maybe potentially one day, handing off the food truck to somebody, or
Yeah.
or like moving away from that,
Uh-huh.
right, and doing videos.
Yeah.
What does that look for you? Do you have something like kind of planned out, or?
You know,
You don't have to spell all your
yeah,
secrets.
yeah,
You
yeah.
don't
I
have to
guess
spell all your
yeah,
secrets.
yeah.
There's levels to it, of course.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
levels to it, of course. And I think you gotta know where you start, and you gotta know the destination, right?
Yeah.
The destination, for the first time ever, I'm like, I think with the food truck, I was, I have gained so much positive experience from it. Where right now I'm okay with, I'm just gonna get to the first step, the second step, and then, put it on cruise control, see wherever it takes me.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. With the food truck, what I learned is that there's always opportunities to go to events, to be booked at somewhere, someplace, whatever it is, and those doors, in business, sometimes those doors are just automatically open for you, and that's what I learned, and that's in any industry for that matter, or just in life in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
And then, with where I do want to go right now, there's two things. One is, of course, my videos, right? My cooking videos.
Right.
I haven't had this feeling since I've opened the food truck where I'm
Right.
like, oh, I'm passionate about
Yeah.
this.
Right, right.
I have a burning desire. I want to keep making these videos.
Yeah.
Not because one day I hope that it will bring me money, but also because I really do enjoy
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you like
I
it.
really do enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah.
And then I'm also actually a huge cannabis enthusiast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I like the business side of it. I like to talk about it, smoke it. I want to do something in that industry
Yeah,
as well. Not necessarily selling it or growing it.
Well, did you bring us something to sample, man?
Yeah. What are we doing here, guys? What are we doing
Hey,
here, guys?
it's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
legal thing in
we're
our
good now.
state.
Yeah.
It's a legal thing in our
Well,
state.
I don't know how you guys feel about that stigma.
Yeah.
I'm okay talking about it.
No, I have no stigma.
Yeah.
I've been
We've talked about
I've
it
been a
on the
But shit,
consumer
hit
for a
pause.
long
Let's go take
time.
a quick break.
Yeah.
I've been a consumer for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just that I've been waiting to talk about it for a long time because
Yeah.
it wasn't legal.
Right.
I was
right.
also a firefighter,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't
you're-
really talk
yeah,
about
you're
it.
not
Not-
opposite
hey, I did
position.
not
Yeah.
consume while I was a firefighter,
Yeah,
just so everybody
yeah.
knows.
It's okay.
But-
Yeah, you gotta put
or
that
while
out
I was
there.
in the
Yeah.
military, but no, yeah,
right.
no, I
Yeah,
dig
yeah.
that. That's a big
I
subject.
really
that,
do enjoy it. My original idea what I was gonna do with these videos was actually incorporate, and I did my first like and second videos. I incorporated cannabis into the
Okay.
videos, but like I said, going back to work at the end of the season, and then with my wife's job too, I don't want that attached to us.
yeah.
But at the same time, I was also like, fuck it. What
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
it does work?
I mean, it
you
is
know?
le-
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It is legal. Like I
Yeah.
think that's the thing. Like sometimes I'll be smoking a joint outside, right? And I'm like, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, it's legal,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't gotta
Like
hide
who
this
cares?
anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
legal,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So it's like, But it's gonna take us a while to
Right.
adjust to that. Like,
Exactly.
like to light a
Exactly.
bowl
Yeah.
outside where people are smoking cigarettes. Because
Right.
the Minneapolis just passed
Yeah.
a thing where you can smoke in any public place where you smoke cigarettes,
Yeah.
like a bar or anything. You
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
light up a joint
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take a while for you to be like, you
Yeah,
know,
until it
and,
becomes
yeah,
normalized.
and if I
Yeah.
see somebody else smoking and I'm smelling, I mean, there's someone smoking.
Yeah.
But that's gonna take a while to normalize, right? But
Yeah.
it is legal, so
Right.
that's why we talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
it's,
like I said,
it's
You know,
it's really legal.
that was my original idea.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I think I'm gonna keep those two niches separated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause it,
yeah, but
like,
still
as-
do it, but just keep them separated, and do the marijuana content on a separate page.
You can go back
Okay.
to Smoking Ninjas as the name now.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
To- Token Ninjas.
Yeah,
Token
bring that
Ninjas,
back. Look
yeah.
at that.
I'm still figuring out a good name for it.
How appropriate. Yeah. How tight is that?
Or you know, I was thinking about just keeping it really simple and just calling it like Yo Boy Sach or something, or something
That
like that.
works too.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
works too.
It's
Hey,
more brand. There's this
yep.
guy. He
You've already
incorporate-
built the brand around this is Sach.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
boy Sach.
Yeah. This
So,
guy I follow on Facebook as well. His name is Vibe with Chew. His whole
Yeah.
name is Jerry Chew. He does that. He incorporates cooking and you know, cannabis into his
Yes.
video content.
yeah.
And that's what, you know, I'm just torn between this identity thing
Right.
right now too. And do I risk it all, or you know, do I be a little bit more conservative about it?
Right.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
kind of stuck in between that. But I still want to do both. I just got to figure out a system for it.
Right.
Where you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see
Yeah.
where it
I
gets
haven't
tricky.
figured it out yet.
Right? Because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you
You're
know,
brainstorming.
Yeah,
Right.
Which
yeah.
is the most important part.
Yeah.
Is to be brainstorming.
Yeah, and
and
then
si-
I feel
similar
like
to
one-
how you
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was like, one of the things that I'm really good at too, you know, is execution. Right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but you know, it takes a lot of time to think over those plans and how you're gonna do it, and be okay with knowing there's risks
Yeah.
as well.
Okay.
So it's a lot of
And I
that
think
as
you're,
well,
you're
yeah.
able to speak this way now because you have years in business.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
you understand
Yeah.
that time
Yeah.
wasted
Right.
is wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not all time is wasted because
Yeah.
through trial and error is how you
Right.
learn.
Right.
But that's the thing that I think in business that I want to tell people is if you're starting a business, is like don't think you're coming in here knowing what the hell you're doing.
Right.
Especially if you don't have
Yeah.
somebody in your family, and even if you have somebody in your family, because
Right.
everybody's path feels different.
Yeah.
But that is one thing. Like when you say what you're saying now is I can really understand it because I can only assume you made a lot of mistakes like I did.
Yeah.
And now if I was to do it a second
Even if
time,
you fail, you didn't do shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
As they say,
exactly.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
second time you do it is like you already know that you're gonna come across failures. Like you
Yeah.
already accept that fact. It's
Right.
just which ones can I avoid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or as much as I can. What can I
Yeah.
control?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What can I
Right.
control and not
Yeah.
and not mess up on?
Yeah,
But
so I'm still
Yeah.
trying
And
to
that's
figure
why I
that out.
like
It
talking
takes a lot
with
of
you guys
thinking.
because
Yeah.
like I'm still at that phase where I'm messing up, and so I'm still learning.
But it's
right?
good.
And so
You
it's
want
good.
to.
Like
Yeah.
I like picking you guys' brains, like
Right.
and having like guests come on that's a
Yeah.
little, maybe a little bit further along in the process.
Yeah.
Where I can pick their brains a little bit. And
Right.
like maybe I can avoid those pitfalls. I'm stubborn, so I'm gonna walk right into the pitfalls
It's
either
cool.
way.
yeah, that's
too.
part of it
Yeah,
though.
it's all right.
But I wanted to talk to you, and because you touched on this a little bit, like because we're driven individuals,
Yeah.
right? And we just leave a path of, destruction behind us, right?
Yeah.
And I know you, and you talked about like going to Europe, and then you're having your wife just kind of be at home and being
Right.
concerned about your whereabouts, and then you talked about, you don't want your potential videos to affect your wife's. I'm
Yeah.
guessing she has a more traditional career, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because like that does matter. Like this is
does
your
matter.
life partner,
Yeah.
and I'm learning that, and so I'm like navigating that too because it's like, me and my wife, like this is my journey, and my wife she's got her own journey, and she's kind of like, hey, this is your dream. I'm gonna let you do your dream. But like you gotta respect my space too, so I'm learning that
Right.
because I'm always mad.
Well, you don't
dude.
want to
Yeah.
taint something that they do
Yeah.
just by the sake of being married to you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
like it is a tricky line to navigate.
Yeah,
and
for
me-
sure.
Yeah.
That's why he
Absolutely.
said you
Yeah.
got to think about it
You gotta
for
think
a
about
while.
it
Yeah.
for
You
a
can't
while,
execute until
yeah.
you've thought about
Yeah.
every single option. And I always go
Yeah.
back. I always go to think of
Because,
the
you
worst
know-
option first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of the worst possible outcome
Yeah.
first.
I'm terrible at that. It's like I'm an opportunist. So if I see something, I'm gonna jump on it.
Right.
And then unfortunately, yeah, everybody, my wife is, she she ends up having to deal with it. My kids are gonna have to deal with
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
And so I don't think about that as much, but like I have to now. Like I have to
Yes.
now, and I'm learning
Yeah.
that I have to now,
Yeah.
just because it's like, you know, I grew up in this idea where it's like, shit, what do we call that? But it's just like these opportunities are so far and few in between. Like I need to jump on them.
Opportunist?
Yeah. And so like, famine mentality or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, and so like everything that comes my way, I have to take full advantage of it. And that's kind of how I lived my life, and that's, you know, how I've gotten to where I've gotten to. But now that I have a family, like shit, like I have to be more careful about that.
Right.
Like, and I have to be like, cause, you know, my wife, she's going to grad school and to be like a therapist.
Right.
Like she doesn't want her, you know, she can't have her significant other,
Right.
you know, going on a podcast.
Yeah, but what you
talking
do is not.
bullshit, you know?
Well, yeah, it's the.
You
I was
know?
gonna say. I was gonna say your
Bullshit
job
on-
itself
yeah,
is
yeah.
not controversial in any way.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
the podcast is definitely a place where we can get in
Yeah.
trouble ourselves
Yeah.
by
Yeah,
just
yeah.
by chatting.
Yeah.
Now, good thing we're not live, and good thing we
Yeah.
control. what we-
That-
we do,
that's one reason why
we
we
do
have it
track
on
and
live.
control what
Yeah,
we
yeah.
put out. So
Yeah.
all you guys out there know
Yeah.
there's some editing
Right.
involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deleted a
But
few
yes.
Yeah.
episodes. Yeah. But like
Whole episodes.
whole episodes.
Damn.
man. Whole
Yeah.
episodes that we had to scrap, you know, a couple
Oh,
clips
wow.
here and there.
Wow.
But yeah, that comes with the territory though.
Yeah.
But like yeah, and so I'm learning how to navigate that. So I'm like
Right.
interested to kind of see like
Yeah.
how you guys do that.
Yeah, it's all risk management.
Yeah, risk
yeah,
management,
yeah. There's
exactly.
no blueprint to it really.
Yeah.
I mean, because both sides are true, you know, both in the
Yep.
professional world, and then and both true to yourself, right?
Yeah.
What you want to do, right, to make you happy, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the constant battle.
Yeah.
It's a constant battle, and then like I said, you just gotta, you know, take your risks, take your losses.
Yeah.
There's definitely risk
Yeah,
involved.
yeah.
I think if there's no risk involved, that's called employee.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
called
yeah.
employee.
Right.
True,
Right.
true.
Yeah.
If you're, that's called employee.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
joke about that. I say if you don't like risk and you want to just make sure those bills are being paid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then go find a job that you like and you'll be
Right.
an employee. But
Yeah.
if you want to be
Yeah.
the owner, then
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah,
is no.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's gonna be
Yeah,
risk.
it is
There's
what it
risk
is.
involved. It is
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
is.
it
Yeah.
is
And-
what it
but I
is.
think
Yeah.
I will say it does take. I do think that the acceptance factor, like when I talk to a lot of my friends who are in their 40s, 50s, like they're past that already. I think where we are, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily age related, it's probably more related to years in the game. Like years in the
Yes.
game, you start to understand, like, okay, some of these things are normal. The risk part, the not knowing part, those things are kind of normal. So I think it's years in the game because you could have a 20-year-old that's been in business
Right.
or a 25-year-old that's been in business since 18. He's probably made mistakes already where he's pretty
Yeah.
wise already by
Right.
25. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily age related as it is experience related.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely takes time to understand and like I'm new to the game as well. You know, I look at the people that truly I want to find out from are the people that have been there 20, 30 years. Like how do they
Right.
how did they balance their ambitions,
Yeah.
their quest at the same
Yeah.
time,
Right.
not get divorced and
Yeah.
you know like how did they do all of it,
Yeah.
get successful, but then still be a very balanced human being?
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's
Yeah.
what I seek the most myself
Right.
personally. As
Right.
I always seek those people, is like who are the ones who are successful, not just financially. Of course, we already know business. The name in the game of
Yeah.
business is finances.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be called a business if
Yeah.
it didn't involve finance.
Right.
But how do you get the
How do you get
how do
there
you find
without just- yeah.
equilibrium? Yeah, how do you get equilibrium throughout all of it,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So you're a healthy human, you have a good mental space, you're supportive of your community, you're supportive of your family, you're not
Yeah.
driving everybody nuts, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like that's the hard
Yeah,
that's the
that's-
challenge.
dude.
That's
Yeah.
the hard part. That takes
Yeah.
a lot
I
of
bet-
discipline
yeah,
and thinking.
'cause you're a new father,
Yes.
newly married,
Right.
So this is probably you're probably stumbling upon this,
Dude,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
have
you're
no
loaded
idea.
up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got loaded
Like,
all at once.
All this
Yeah.
is new to me.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Even the transition of mindset is like
Yeah.
is you know, it's a familiar feeling, but it's a new way of thinking.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's all new to me right now. Wherever I'm at this point in my life, right now at this moment, I'm trying to find some balance too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything's just so new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so new, and you know, take everything everybody say with a grain of salt, right?
Yeah.
And you still gotta figure it out yourself too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta live.
Well, I'm
through
glad
those
we're
moments.
recording this together so that we can make this as a bookmark for yourself.
Yeah.
So that you can listen to this in
Right.
5
Yeah.
years or 10 years
Yes,
and be like, wow,
yes.
this is what I was thinking at that
Yes.
time. And
Yeah.
that's what I enjoy when we do these podcasts.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
get
absolutely.
to, some people say,
Yeah.
oh, you want to just hear
I
yourself talk?
revisit,
I'm
like, I
nah.
revisit old ideas. I
Yeah.
also revisit old notes.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
go through my
It's
notes
good to
and
see
stuff.
where you've
Yeah.
progressed, if you've changed or
Yeah.
not. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes we realize we don't
It's
change.
cringy.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
you
yeah.
look at
Of
it
course.
or you read it, you
course.
watch it. It's like it's
Of
cringy,
course,
but
it's
it's
very
like,
cringy.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
had to accept
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I'm just a cringe machine.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
always just promoting whether it's the podcast, the
Right.
farm, or like my other friends' businesses.
Yeah.
Like my platform on social media is
Yeah.
total freaking cringe.
Yeah,
man.
I see
And
Facebook
yeah.
posts, you know, on my memories from like 2011. I'm
Yeah.
like, delete.
Yeah.
I
What
have
was I
those too.
thinking? Yeah.
Usually
Yeah.
it's something stupid about partying and getting hammered, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I
Yeah.
miss those days. Yeah.
yeah,
days were cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
those guys,
Yeah.
those days
Yeah.
were a little less responsible, but
Yeah.
they're fun.
Right. It was
Yeah.
short lived, but it was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
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 So with kids now, how do you navigate your work schedule?
My work schedule.
Yeah, how do you
Yeah,
balance
Oh,
it?
man, you
Yeah,
just you know.
You get up earlier. What do you do?
Me, I am an early bird,
Yeah.
generally speaking. Man, I was here before both of y'all.
Yeah, you were.
I'm just
you
kidding.
Were.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was.
but I like to get up early and take my time in the morning and then go into work slowly versus
Okay.
boom. I have 30
Get up
minutes to
rush.
get ready, and then when I get there, I'm just gonna clock in or I'm just
Yeah,
gonna start the fryers or whatever
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
doing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I like to take my time in the morning, so I wake up, you know, roll around in bed for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, use the bathroom,
Yeah.
shower, you know, freshen up, and then you just chill. Watch an episode, you know,
Yeah.
that you didn't finish last night because you fell asleep.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you take your time in the morning, and I like doing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I warm up to
Yeah,
my day.
that's how
And
you
warm
then
up,
with
yeah.
the kids, you know,
That's important though. That's important.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah,
important.
yeah. I
You
like
hear
to
that?
warm
That's a secret right there. Secret to success. Right
yeah.
there.
So I just like getting up early in the morning before my wife and kids too, and then cause shit, like say if you just wake up and go to screaming and yelling,
Yeah.
you're crabby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, you on a short fuse. You don't
Right,
want
right.
that.
Mm.
You know, and then if you take the time for yourself in the morning already to warm up for that, because you already know what's gonna happen. Same
Yeah.
thing every day. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
people. You know, people are creatures of habit. You know,
Yeah.
so it's gonna be like that for a little
Yeah.
bit. And
That's
then,
important.
yeah, you just gotta understand your lifestyle, and then get the boys to school. You know, my wife goes to work, and then I work from home too.
Yeah.
You know, if not the food truck, you know, I work, you know, just side gigs, you know, for a regular day job. I just work from home. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I play podcasts in the back while I work because it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
me,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I like, I ran through your rabbit hole, both of yours
Yeah, yeah.
rabbit hole. I ran through that.
Thank you, thank
I'm a huge
Yeah.
fan of Joe Rogan.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was also a huge guy of this guy named Snooge. Yeah,
Yeah.
his name is Snooge, you know.
Nice.
And he talks to like millionaires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't say this because of hating, but you know, the media never plays or give the limelight on black people.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's black millionaires out there too, or there's
Right.
people of color that are millionaires out there too. You know,
Right.
so Snooze just goes around interviewing all them.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with the balance with the kids, you know, my oldest, he likes to play football as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the youngest, you know, he's a first grader, so he's still he's a homebody. He just shows at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just gotta remember that work is work too. But you
Yeah.
know, work is work, chores are chores, and family time is family
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And you
so-
gotta respect all three.
Yeah,
and
you gotta
you gotta
respect
give
all
equal
three.
time to all
Yup,
three.
you gotta find that
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've been trying to figure that out. How do I do it? I don't know. Man.
Yeah.
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 'Cause
I
you
feel
know,
like we're at
Yeah.
an age where it's hard.
You just gotta
to-
find a routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just find a routine.
I
Yeah.
think the 20s and the early 30s, when I look at like older guys, and I'm not saying that I can't do what they do, but when I look at older guys, it seems like just because they've had more time on earth to think about it,
Yeah.
they're more balanced, you know.
Yeah.
Versus I think in your 20s and 30s, you're seeking a lot. You're
Yeah.
seeking, and you're also on a quest.
Yeah.
Like hardcore. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, like I'm
Right.
always on a quest, and that's the only thing that I get with age is when they
Yeah.
say wisdom. To me, wisdom isn't that you know more.
Yeah.
It's just that you understand. Like, oh yeah.
Maybe.
I gotta pay attention to my family.
Yeah.
Right, you've
I
been
gotta
through more, yeah.
you gotta
Right.
pay, like it's just
Right.
balancing so
Right.
that you don't go crazy.
Yeah.
Because if you
Yeah.
go crazy, everybody in the household
Yeah,
going crazy.
Yeah.
dude.
If you
You gotta be the one that have your head on your shoulders and
if
also
you go
your
crazy,
head on
everybody's
a
feeling
swivel.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do I?
yeah, when you snap, oh shit,
Yeah,
everything's
everybody-
wrong now.
everything's
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you
And
gotta,
it started with you, right?
Yeah.
It started with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
But it's
yeah.
hard to. It's like as men, I feel like, and this is true to the younger listeners. I'm speaking for myself, but maybe we can all agree or disagree. But in your 20s, you're it's just that you're in that like vibe of impulsive.
Yeah.
You're more impulsive.
Very
about stuff.
fast lifestyle.
Yeah, very
Still
fast.
am, man.
Very,
I'm
very
still
fast
slow
lifestyle.
impulsive.
Yeah, I mean, I still
And I
got
think
that
that's
too.
where-
I still got
yeah,
that. Too. I
right,
think
right.
guys, we tend to have that, especially
Yeah.
those who are kind of like always seeking something.
Right.
Yeah.
We have that, but now I'm at 35. I'm at a point where I'm understanding like that has helped me in many ways, but I need to learn how to control that because
Yeah.
sometimes that's when you do too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you try to
Impulse
do too
control,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think where you said you're a great executor, like
Yeah.
I'm not a great executor at all.
Right.
Like I'm a dreamer.
Right.
So I just
Yeah.
sit here and ideas are cooking in my
Yeah.
head,
Yeah.
and but like, and so I run into that a lot where I'm like, if something comes my way, I'm impulsive. I'm jumping on it,
Yeah.
and so I'm still.
Well, I
I'm
don't
still
know.
doing
In your
that a lot.
experience in your
Yeah.
life, has that benefited you or hurt
Yeah.
you more?
Oh, exactly.
It
Exactly.
definitely
Yeah.
has benefited.
Well,
me.
then
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it
Yeah.
works
It
for you.
definitely
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
benefited
You know,
me,
intuition
yeah,
is
yeah.
a good thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if you have good intuition, then
If it's worked for you, then
Yeah.
it's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not a great executor. You know, that's where it's
Yeah.
like, oh shoot, maybe I should take time to think about things a
Yeah.
little bit more, especially now as a father.
Yeah.
Like I have to take the time to I have to
Right.
consider my wife's feeling. I have to consider
Right.
my wife's time, my
True.
kids' times. And so
Yeah.
and that's why I asked you about that too, just
Yeah.
because like me being a new father too, like I'm learning to like
yeah.
I'm still
he's
trying
newer
to
than you.
figure, Yeah, I'm still trying
Yeah.
to figure that out too. So
Yeah, you know, like I said, it's risk management and it's how much you're willing to spend, right? Takes
Yeah.
money, make money, right?
Yeah.
And let's say you just gotta be really okay with taking the time to try it. So like, what does it cost you, right?
Yeah.
Does it cost me more than time?
Yeah.
And if it does cost me money, how much, right? How much am I willing to lose to see if it works or not? you
Right.
know, and
Yeah.
That's always my dilemma, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're speaking directly to me.
Yeah.
because
yeah.
like
'Cause time is money, man.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
at this page
Yeah.
where it's like, well, I'm at this place where like I've grown my business large enough, and now it's like, all right, if I want to take it to the next level, maybe I gotta start dropping some money on some ads. Maybe
Yeah.
I gotta pay
Yeah.
for maybe more professional photography,
Right.
right? And so it's like, okay, do I want to, like, I have to take this
Yeah.
next step.
Yeah.
But what does that look like, and like what?
I say,
how much
dude.
am
I
willing
say,
to- yeah.
before you think about all of that, you know, you always want to start with the basics.
Mm.
You know, if a light bulb dies, right,
Mm-hmm.
would you start pulling fuses and relays, or would you check the bulb first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
what's
check
free
the bulb.
first, bro.
Mhm.
Like content creating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like what I'm doing with these cooking videos. Like, I don't know where it's gonna go,
Yeah.
but it doesn't cost me a thing.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it really doesn't. And like I said, and with doing this, and if one video just catches on, it'll open other doors.
Right.
You know, and if my thing here doesn't blow up, at least it's just cost me my time.
Right, right,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Right.
so you know, that's
Huge,
that's kind of my
huge.
mentality about taking these risks as well.
Yeah.
You know, aside from the publicity of it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so huge. Just because again, just freaking, I navigate that every day.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so we talked about we're all in our 30s.
Yeah.
Similar age. Like, what would you say biggest life lesson
Yeah.
that you've learned from your 20s that you take on into your 30s now?
In our professional life, in our personal life, in relationships, in business.
Let's do
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
Let's do both personal and business. Because I think some of our listeners do listen to us because
Yeah.
they think, we're
Well, I'll
older.
say
we're
I'll
old,
answer you
married.
like
Yeah,
this. You know, what helped me, right?
Yeah.
That's where we're going with this, right?
Yeah.
Or what I learned, or
Yeah,
whatever it
yeah,
may be,
yeah.
right? For me was one of the things and early on was to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, yo, if you're single and you in your early 20s, you have that drive, that energy I was telling you
Yeah.
about that's up the roof. Catch it, man.
Yeah.
You know, catch it. You know, like I say, with anything that you do, whether it's a business, hobby, learning a new skill, education, you know, there's these systems in place because you don't know shit.
Right.
You know, it's made for you to learn.
Yeah.
You know, and do things. That's why there's rules. That's why there's laws. That's why, you know, there's guidelines. You know, you just follow those. And like say YouTube University as well is always available 24/7. They
Right.
don't close. You know, and you gotta take care of yourself. And like I said, execution.
Right.
Nothing happens if you don't execute. You gotta know that, and like I said, understand those risks, and be willing to take those risks.
Right.
Because at the end of the day,
100%.
you know, even if you're spending money on it, you gotta start thinking like a businessman, where it's just the cost of business. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a cost of business, and then you start learning those skills where you start seeing where phases where it's really lucrative, and you start seeing phases where it's not so lucrative.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, that can only come with experience, and you can only know and learn if you make those failures. So you should always execute,
Right.
even though because everyone's gonna be scared.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Yeah.
gonna be nervous, but you're never
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
know.
Yep.
But what if it was a great thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, what if it was really rewarding?
Yeah.
But also know that because we're veterans in entrepreneurship now,
Yeah.
and
You guys are for sure.
yeah, or at least know enough now that we can say that nothing lasts forever sometimes. Yeah, and be okay with those risks. And in your early 20s, you won't understand that. You
Right.
gotta really see for yourself, but be okay with taking those risks and put plans in place. You know, exit plan in place if it don't work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you two?
20s,
In your
my
20s.
lesson for your 20s is just try shit, as simple as that.
Yeah.
Try
Yep.
shit.
Yeah.
Just try
Just
shit.
try shit. Do
You
not,
got a long life.
yeah, if you don't
Yeah.
try shit early in your 20s,
100%.
Yeah.
well, the beauty about your 20s is that you can try shit and fail, and that you're still going to be young.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
And your 30s is the same. Honestly, your 30s is the same. Honestly, trying shit all at all times should always be, that's my philosophy. You should try shit at
Yeah.
all times. But in your 20s, your failures are great lessons that you can develop into your 30s.
Yeah.
And you can do that, right? Because you're not a teen anymore. You
Yeah.
can actually, like, you probably have a job. You probably make a little bit of money. So, like, try shit in all aspects, not just in business. Try different types of jobs. Travel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do a bunch of shit so that when
Yeah.
you get to your 30s, you have a lot of world experience.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because that's helped me a lot. Like, I think by the time I reached my 30s, I already had like 15 jobs. And
Yeah.
some people would say, that's ridiculous, man. Can't you just hold down one job long
Yeah,
enough?
yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
And you're not wrong. That's
Yeah.
one
Right.
way to look at it.
Right.
But the way I look at it is like, no, actually, I tested 15 different industries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw 15 different ways of working. I
Yeah.
saw 15
That's
different
huge.
bosses and managers. So now I have more experience on like how to lead, and then you stack that on top of military and fire. You stack all this together. I think that by the time I got to 30, I had a good amount of like views, right?
Yeah.
So I would say just try shit, and
Yeah.
that'd be
I-
number one. Just try shit. If you don't try nothing, don't get comfortable.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah, don't
be
get
a student
comfortable.
and be coachable.
Yeah, don't
Right.
be
Exactly.
comfortable.
Yeah.
How important is that?
Yeah.
Right, 'cause
Comfortable is
I
easy
think
to
that's
get to,
so.
yeah.
I think that's so important. Like your 20s, and what I'm realizing is like, man, you're supposed to mess
Yeah.
up in your 20s.
Yeah.
Right.
You're supposed to make mistakes.
Right.
And you're like, it's such a time of like self-discovery.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
They're formative years.
Yes. And it's almost as if like if you've got it down and you
Yeah.
don't make mistakes in your 20s, like you don't actually grow or you
Yeah.
don't actually learn
Yeah.
anything. And so like
Right.
the 20s is your time is your time to make those mistakes.
I mean, it's
'Cause
your,
even
it's
like
your
you
first
said-
decade as an
Yeah.
adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your
Yep.
first adult decade.
It's just confusing, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And-
It's
and
hard,
actu-
yo.
yeah.
It's
You're
so
still
hard.
thinking
Yeah.
about like your friends and like who am I pleasing, who am I not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Relationships. Is this the right woman for me?
Yeah,
We've been
man.
together for 4 years. Maybe
yeah.
this is it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
because that's one thing.
Yeah.
I won't talk too crazy about relationship, but yeah, it's just one
Yeah.
thing. Sometimes you get into a relationship early on and you're like, this is it. This is the one, you know?
Yeah.
But you don't even know why. You just know because
Right.
you've been around for 5-6 years. So you start
Yeah.
to think that's the one. So like
Yeah.
you question so much in your early
Yeah.
20s.
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
Which is also which is also the beauty of being in your 20s, because what happens when you get 30 and 40, you start being fixed in your thinking as well, and that's
Right,
also a
yeah.
downside,
Yeah.
right? Why can't we ever tell the OG how to think differently? Because the
Yeah.
OG's always like,
Yeah, yeah.
no, I'm right.
Yeah.
So like that's something that I'll ask ourselves in 10
Yeah.
years, like when we meet
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
if we're all still talking to each other in 10, 15 years, let's see how flexible we are at that
episode
point.
1000.
Let's see how malleable we are at that
Yeah.
point, because
Yeah.
that's one thing I notice is you get
Yeah.
older and you get more fixed on your thinking.
It's
You know,
true.
Yeah.
you're more confident in the way you
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
which is good because you
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's also a downside
It's a
because I
cruel
see it in
world, man.
myself.
Yeah.
I see it in myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
like, nah, you
It-
should start to
Yeah.
listen to the 20-year-old. Like some
Right.
people don't want to listen to 20-year-olds.
Right.
It drives me nuts when
Yeah.
people say, the younger generation, this and that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, of
Same.
course. But we was that too, and
Right.
the next generation will also be that as well. And
Yeah.
like it never changes. Like the
Yeah.
college kids always gonna think like college kids. Different time frames, but they always think like college kids.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you start to think that you know better than the college kid because you're 30 years past them, then I mean it's probably true. You probably do know more
Yeah,
than the
yeah.
college
Yeah.
kid. You
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
because you've been on Earth longer.
Yeah.
But now it makes you that OG.
Yeah. And then I guess like the
Yeah.
important conversation is like, how do you communicate them effectively? Because you know that they don't have maybe the world like a
Nice.
world of experience, but how do you convey what you want to say in a way where they'll listen?
think-
Because I think like
yeah,
when
you
we
know-
ran into that like a lot in our 20s, where I think a lot of OGs try to talk to us and we're just
Yeah.
like, dude, you don't know, like,
When I think about that, right, the first thing that comes to mind is looking back at like role models, you know,
yeah,
and generally speaking, your relationships.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
you gotta look at your relationships. For me, you know, I remember for the longest time that no one was on my side.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a big bro that you know cared for me. You know, like being Hmong, our parents, you know, it's tough.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's tough parents, you know, and then being so young too, you know, you and your siblings always fight, you know,
Yeah.
petty shit.
Yeah.
And you don't have, not that you don't love each other, but it's
Yeah.
just that you don't have that communication with them.
right,
And for the longest time too, I had to hype myself up, right? You had to be your biggest cheerleader.
yes,
And it gets draining.
Yeah.
You know, it gets draining. And I forgot where I was going with this.
So
Oh, no.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that- yeah, go for it.
about
That's huge.
Go full circle for me again.
Yeah, but let me ask you this,
yeah.
because this is I think where you were going with
Yeah.
this is when you were young
Yeah.
and these older people talk to you.
Yeah.
What was it about their qualities and their
Oh,
traits
yes.
that made
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Yes.
be relatable
right,
to
so
them?
you never had that someone that you could talk to.
Right.
You know, so me when I talk to beginners, not beginners. Why am I saying beginners? I was thinking business.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to young adults, and you really are inexperienced, and you know, especially if you're Asian or being Hmong, it's hard to have someone on your side because you've been alone for such a long time. You know, so
Yeah.
you gotta be, for me, you know, to be able to communicate with these younger folks. You know, they're gonna have to want it, right? You can't just push it on them. They
Yeah.
have to come to
Right,
you,
right,
right?
right.
And secondly, if they are seeking to confide in you, you gotta be compassionate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very, very compassionate.
Yes.
Because, like, for me, I remember that time in my life where I was like, you know, F what everybody say. You know, for good reason, I feel like, for good
Yeah.
reason. But, you know, it made me who I am today. And
Yeah.
I can see those generational trauma, right?
Yeah.
That,
Right.
That's still around. You know, if you're specifically talking about Hmong kids, you just got to be compassionate in listening to them, right?
Yeah.
Because no one
So a
listens
good
to
listener,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
No,
gotta be a
like,
good listener.
no one listens to me.
yeah, that's
You know?
huge.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
huge.
No one listens to me. Like, why does anyone listen to me?
Yeah.
You know, it's those emotions again, and you know, that's why for me, I try to be, you know, there for people. Try to be, you know,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
you needed, right?
Yeah.
Just a set of ears.
Yeah.
So,
Set of ears.
and that's how I normally get it across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like, do you find that as like motivation for you? Like to when you talk about maybe having to be your own cheerleader or maybe having to, you know, maybe not having ears to listen
Yeah.
to you?
Yeah.
Do you find that like, does that drive you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That's, I guess that's kind of the passion.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
how do we as fathers instill that, like, because we talk about this a lot, right? Because now that okay, but if you're listening to your kids all the time,
Right.
and you're that ear for them, now do they lose out on that motivation because that maybe or that drive? Do you guys kind of get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
potentially.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
here's a
because we talk about that a
Here's
lot.
a statistic
That's
that I've heard
yeah.
that I always go back to. The statistic
Yeah.
says that if you open a business and you become your first generation millionaire in that business, second generation is a 50%, I think it's 30% rate of
Yeah.
success, and the third generation has 11% rate of
Yeah.
success. So I think if we go by that statistic, and I don't have a resource for it,
Yeah.
but it's in my head, that's the
Yeah.
source.
Yeah.
But I've read that before, but that just goes to show that like. I mean, that's what we're seeing now, right?
Yeah.
Like kids, we first generation grinded, hustled,
Yeah.
house, college degree, master's degree, big house. Second generation, a little less. I think there's when you don't have to fight as hard for
Yeah.
it, then you're always gonna have it. And that's the thing that I think your generation,
Yeah.
my generation, that's our new challenge is how do we keep our children driven because we
Yeah.
were driven, and then we're gonna become OGs too. Like, hey,
Yeah.
we're real driven, you know.
Yeah.
Our parents
Yeah,
rode our
yeah.
ass,
Yeah.
and so like. I think that's gonna be I don't have children yet, but I can imagine if I have children like you or you, that's the next challenge. Is okay. Now we've done everything that we kind of give them the best that we
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
Right.
Now they're not as hungry, and
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and now
Yeah.
we're kind of like mad at them
Like,
for not
yeah.
being hungry.
So
Yeah.
how do we instill that drive?
I don't know.
Like,
That's-
as parents
You
now,
gotta
and
find a
like,
balance.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know.
That is, yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I started paying bills as soon as I got my driver's license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mommy and daddy ain't gonna pay insurance and gas
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
They really didn't. And yeah, man, you just.
Is that the?
I
is
think
the-
do
is
what
that
they
the
did,
move? Yeah,
but
yeah.
approach it a different way.
Yeah,
yeah,
approach it a
do
different
what
way.
they
Yeah, yeah.
did. Teach you the lesson, but don't yell at them.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you know,
100%.
Use a
every-
different,
yeah,
Yeah.
Use a different communication style.
yeah,
To
yeah.
convey this.
Right. And,
the
that's,
good
and honestly, I
things.
still have a hard time trying to find that balance
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know, where it's
we
like-
all do.
Well, I mean,
Don't
you were
worry.
here
Yeah.
with two kids. That,
Yeah.
Right out. Because
Yeah.
how old were they when you? As soon as you
Shit,
get. Because they're 6 and 12 now. But how old were they when
Gray,
you first?
Gray was 2 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So they were
okay.
10 already. You
Yeah, yeah.
boom.
Yeah.
You got a 10-year-old.
Yup. And, then,
So-
and like I said, I don't mean this in a bad way at all, but it's really hard to teach old dogs new tricks.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And
Especially
Yeah.
if they're
Yeah.
instilled with,
Right,
like,
right.
or
And then-
used to
and the
doing things
dudes
a certain
in-
way.
2 different households. My
Yeah.
kids,
Yeah.
and then adding me to it, that's kind of like your third place.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because I've been had my own crib before, I married my wife, and
Yeah.
for them to, being at their apartment and then going to their dad's,
Yeah.
and then now.
Now to
When-
you.
yeah,
Well,
now
that's
my
got to be
wife-
tough.
yeah,
They have
yeah,
3
so-
different sets of rules
Yeah,
that they
so
have
you
to
so
learn.
you got to gauge
learn.
the
Yeah.
gauge the.
Must ask a lot of patience
yeah,
from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Oh,
it does, and that's
A lot of keeping our mouth closed and
yeah,
just listening.
yeah. I mean,
watching
and
it
at the end of the
happen.
day, it's
Yeah.
like I'm the one that wanted to get married.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Can't blame nobody else.
Yeah, I went into this. That's what dating's for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
so you
right.
exactly.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
see if
You understood the assignment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. To see if I could do it forever.
Yeah.
If I could really do it forever or not.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have ex-girlfriends that you just come to realize that, shit, I don't see myself doing this forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm gonna say this too. Like, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say, like, I think just hearing that, like,
Yeah.
I know you're a good father, and I know you're gonna continue to be a good father. Just because, like, I think we bear this responsibility of, like, now that we know more, like, we have to also we know more about child development, and we know more about, like, kids psychology. Like, we have to apply that, and the fact that you're even thinking about that,
Yeah.
I think that makes you a better parent. I just know there are parents out there that just this doesn't even cross their mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it's their fault or not, because for some parents they just have to work,
Yeah.
and they don't even have the time to go. How should I approach my kid about X, Y, and Z? How should I do this or that? So the fact that, like, you're thinking about this, and this is something that I can tell that's been going on in your mind. Like, I haven't seen you with your kids, but I can make a good estimate that, like, you're a pretty
appreciate
good
it, bro.
father,
Yeah, I
and
try to
just
be,
hearing you talk about them.
Yeah. You just really think back to your relationship with your parents and
Mm-hmm.
how you would have liked to be treated.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
like my dad,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Like my pops, he never let me play any sports.
Yep.
And we were broke, so
Yeah.
I never got the most updated games or game station like the rest of my cousins and my friends do. So I never got to play with them.
Yeah.
You know, and when they come over, no one wants to play it.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So it was, you know, tricky in a sense where, sorry, try to bring it back full circle. Yeah.
Oh yeah. 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 No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that.
yeah, and then,
yeah.
you know, with the kids, you got to think about, like, what can you provide for them, right?
Right.
And what can you do differently for you to have a better relationship
Yeah.
with your kids? Because,
Yeah.
like I said, I do remember a time where, you know, and me and my dad, you know, don't get me wrong, I love my dad, but we don't have that great relationship.
Yeah.
You know,
Same, yeah.
but you know, as I grew older, and this is where my entrepreneurship spirit comes from too, where it's like, I can't live like this forever.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I can't be broke forever.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
no,
I hate
100%,
it. Yeah, I
100%.
hate it. I can't be broke forever. I hate it. I want to, you know, do better for myself and to be selfish. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
it for myself.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
yeah,
100% my drive and my
Right,
motivation.
right,
It's like
right.
I knew I was very aware of my
Yeah.
situation growing up. I was very aware of that.
Yeah.
We didn't have anything at all. Like
Right.
we didn't like. We had to use the school's internet. Like
Right.
we didn't even have internet till like
Yeah.
my junior year of high school or
Right,
something.
right.
And I didn't even have my first cell phone until like I was like a senior.
Yeah.
But it was even then it was like a hand me down thing.
Yeah.
You know, and so
Yeah.
like I know where I came from.
Right.
Like I
Right.
absolutely like and that's why sometimes it's so hard when my wife goes, dang, like why can't you just chill? I'm like, I can't chill.
Yeah.
Like I need to get there and I need
Right.
to build something where I can hand
Right.
it off to my kids. I need to not be broke. You know, or I need to be grinding.
Right.
And so, you know, if I'm not working, it doesn't sit
Yeah.
well with me.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and shit, call it generational trauma, but yeah, it is a grind, and but it's a blessing and a curse because at the same time, like,
Right.
shit, does it affect my happiness?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
do I leave a path of destruction everywhere I
Yeah.
go?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
Right.
yeah, like it's. How do you balance that? I don't know. I'm still figuring
you
that
know,
out.
Going back to the topic about, you know, how do you teach young kids or young adults, you know, or get them to listen? You really don't. Sometimes you just gotta do it and let
Yeah.
them watch and let them remember it later.
Yeah, and let them figure it out.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
know, just plant the seed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I would say, man, one of the things that helped mold me the most as a young person was, man, my father leaving.
yeah,
You know, then my oldest brother, you know, working a full-time job, and then also going to college, and then my older siblings like leaving for school and military.
Yeah.
I was left to myself.
yeah,
And like I had to make all these decisions myself. Like I just walked everywhere from like middle school all the way to high school. Like I just like wandered around, you know.
Yeah.
But like shit, I don't want that for my kids.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, how do I, you know? But I
still
learned
instill-
so
yeah,
But I
yeah.
learned so much because
Principles, yeah.
I had to make so many decisions on my own, and then I freaking. You know, whatever situation I got myself in, I had to get myself out of, and
Yeah.
so, but I learned so much. But
Yeah,
like, you know, and so how do you teach that?
yeah.
You know?
Last May, I went to my nephew's graduation
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
And his dad, my cousin, you know, poured around for the guys that, you know, were at the end helping out cleaning.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, chill with la katinga, you know, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shikuchi la katinga.
Your nephew?
No, my his dad, my
Oh,
cousin.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
But I told my son, if he wants an education, he gotta go get it himself.
Yeah.
You know, of course, I could just write a check and pay for it, and it's true.
Yeah.
And you do gym more,
Yeah.
and but he's like, if I pay for it, he wouldn't value it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, he wouldn't value it. He would just do whatever he wants. Probably go to college and you know,
Fuck around and
fuck
never-
around
yeah,
and
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, I ain't gonna pay for that loan or that dropout.
Yeah.
So I told him if he wants his education, he gotta pay for it.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it has to be like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't know if I
Yeah.
100% agree with
Yeah.
that too, because
Yeah.
you know we work hard to put our kids in a better situation
Yeah.
so they can go further.
I mean, of
But,
course,
like,
you know,
we
he's
don't
in a
wanna
position to
recreate
be
our
a
own-
backbone for his son. I'm sure,
yeah.
like, being the great father he is, he won't let his son
But that's the
fail.
thing.
Yeah.
There's a different feeling
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Knowing that you don't have. Let's say, just think of this. Like, if our dad told us you have to go to school or you should go to school, I'm not paying for any of it, but you
Yeah.
knew your dad already got millions in the bank.
Yeah.
Do you really feel the same stress?
Right,
As if
right,
your
right,
dad
right,
they ain't got the
yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you already know your dad got money because you can see the car he drives.
Yeah.
And you can see the house he got.
Right.
Yeah.
So
right.
it's not the same as
Yeah.
like for us.
Yeah.
We saw
Yeah.
like
True,
the Section
true.
8 apartment, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
You don't need to know that you're broke. Society's gonna tell you.
Right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Right,
versus
right,
when your
right.
dad said you gotta pay for
Yeah.
college, yourself, it's like, oh man, not gonna
Yeah.
work for it, dad. Dang,
Yeah.
I know you got
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that
so
drives
yeah,
not the
so
same.
it's a balance.
Yeah, you have a backup.
Yeah. But
So it ain't the same. So
Yeah,
maybe
it-
you just got to go back to living in a small apartment.
Yeah.
Don't tell your daughters that you got no
Maybe,
money.
Maybe that's
like,
the,
I
shit,
it's got to
that
be
is the
balanced.
truth,
You
though.
still
That's-
got to figure out though.
That
You
is
know,
the truth, though.
There's no right
Yeah.
blueprint or recipe.
Yeah.
Trust me,
for it.
dude.
That is the
Dude,
truth, man.
dude.
I don't got money. Shit,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
but,
got nothing.
but think
you
about
know?
this. If
Yeah.
you're a little child and your dad's got a farm with multiple animals and shit
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, and then you go meet somebody from Section 8 down in North Minneapolis
Yeah.
where you grew up,
Yeah.
would they feel like they're privileged next to that kid in North
Yeah,
Minneapolis?
yeah,
Yeah.
probably,
Because
yeah, yeah.
probably.
It's also how you raise your kids too.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yeah. At the end of the day, it's what you
Yeah.
tell them.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
what
Oh,
you tell them is what you teach
It's what you
them.
teach. Yeah.
Yeah,
Value.
and-
What
Yeah.
value do you
yeah,
put in
your
them?
values, you know, and
Yeah.
he's a good kid. My nephew, like I said, don't get me wrong, dude's really, really a good kid because, you know, aside from me and his dad, you know, him and I, we have a very personal
Good
relationship. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, very personal relationship too, and I believe he's a good kid.
Yeah, and what
You
a
know,
perfect model,
yeah,
like you
yeah.
know, to have you like what a perfect role
You know, I'm
model.
not saying I'm the
Yeah,
greatest and I'm the
Yeah.
best, but you know, whoever
But who
wants to
is,
go under
you
the
know?
wing,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and like I said, I'll be there for you.
Yeah.
And he treats me well, I treat him well. And
Yeah.
like I said, I truly believe he's a good kid. And I do believe that he won't take that for granted from his father.
Yeah,
But you know, and I'm sure you know whatever, like I said, behind closed doors, I'm sure he's a tough dude because he is a tough dude.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And that's the
so,
thing we don't
yeah.
give. You know, I want to make sure we continue to. You know, we got to give this generation credit. I think
Yeah.
they don't get a lot of credit. Where
Yeah.
it's like, you know, these guys they're growing up in a totally different world than we grew up in, even though it's only been a few years. Like, and you know, these young guys are doing some cool shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
they're like-
absolutely.
yeah, and so you know, I don't want to be in a position where, you know, where I'm like this old guy shitting on young people. So
Yeah.
like when I hear people our age, that annoys me
Yeah.
the fuck out of me. I'm
Right,
like,
right.
When I hear people our age shitting on young people, I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, you were once a young guy getting shit on.
Yeah.
Like, why would you just like? Why would you do that to the
Because
next
it's
group of
because
kids,
it's
you
easy
know?
to forget. In
Yeah.
order to not to talk like that to a younger person, you have to actually think before you speak.
Right,
You know,
right.
You have to think before you speak. If you don't think before you speak, then the easiest thing to say to them is just, "Bro, you got to do it like this, like
Right,
that,"
right.
because you already know, because you've already been doing it for a long time. And
Yeah.
I get caught slipping like that every once in a while.
Right,
You know, you
right.
see a young guy, he comes
Yeah.
through, you tell him, "No, you got to do this, do
Yeah.
that," and now I hear myself talking, I'm like, "Man, that's exactly how I
Right.
hated other people telling
Yeah,
me how to
yeah.
do things."
I think I do pretty good at not lashing out like that.
Yeah,
or at
yeah.
all. I honestly don't feel the need to at all to
Yeah.
talk down on anybody because I really do know the feeling of being there.
Yeah, yeah.
And especially I remember the times where people set me up to fail.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that too.
Oh, that's a different feel. Set up to
And I
fail.
most definitely remember.
Do you think set up to fail like that was their intent, or you think set up
Hell
to fail because
yeah.
they didn't know better?
Nah.
Okay.
I truly feel that it's intentional.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
give you a story. I used to MC a lot in the
Yeah, yeah,
community,
yeah.
and that's kind of where some of my reputation comes from
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And we did General Van Powell's memorial service
Yup.
right before his birthday.
Yeah.
And I did it with the homegirl Shelly, and I remember when lunchtime came around, right? And being so young too, this was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
No older than 23. And I remember dude came up to me, and he was like, "Muhu shade ka lan na mo ai, bi cho mo do hong." This is a Lao family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bi mo mo cho hong da a, ne hu shade lan na na. I'm like, okay, cool. And I got on stage. I had ni 一种个叮叮喳啥的，这就不也 Hati api more Jean Boy Sach and the check game no.
Yeah.
No. And then he came and snatched the mic from me. He's like, "Tôi ra chỉ đâu ô tô nó lấy chuyện lo là chỉ đâu bao ta, biết chúng mua khủng nó nữa, biết chúng mua nó mỏ nữa, biết mua khủng trọng yếu số chỉ muốn nó mỏ, chỉ muốn nó rong mỏ nữa, giờ mua khủng trọng yếu nên nó like." And then I'm like,
That is a setup.
dude.
That is a setup. Yes.
Yup.
Or if you would have told me what to actually,
Yeah.
you wanted me to call it that?
Yeah.
Then tell me to call it that.
Yeah,
But you just
yeah.
said tell people that we get
Dude,
food.
and I was pissed. And like,
Yeah.
this is just one of many.
Yeah.
Actually, I think this was the last time I stopped doing
Helping in that sense.
Yeah, in that part of the
Right.
community where it involves old folks. You know,
I can't. I can't do old folks
Yeah,
either. It's,
so-
no disrespect to them, but
Right.
just different generations.
Yeah, and like so going back to they set you up to talk shit about you, or they just want to talk shit about you, and they set you up to fail. And I would never want to be that person.
Yeah, no,
Never.
for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
I think that one is that one's unique
Yeah.
in the experience, but I think not unique in the generational gap that I've
Yeah.
experienced myself with
Yeah.
among OGs.
Right,
I think among
right.
OGs sometimes they I don't know why they do that, you know.
Right.
I wonder why
Like,
they do
wanna
that.
see
I
you
don't-
fail,
yeah, yeah.
and not just see you fail, but maybe just tease you a little bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they had good intentions.
But when you're
Yeah.
but obviously it didn't come across as that to you
Yeah.
in your how you felt about it. You know,
Right.
obviously it impacted you enough to that you can still talk about it today.
Yeah,
But
so-
yeah, no, you're right. We shouldn't teach it like that either.
Right.
To well, that's really not teaching. That there's no teaching in that.
Yeah.
That's just straight up being an asshole.
Yeah,
yeah,
real,
yeah.
for real.
But some of the OGs, sometimes I question if they even know better than to not be assholes, or
Yeah.
makes me feel like I was better in Hmong because sometimes I'd have some killer comebacks
Yeah.
too. But
Yeah, for real.
if I spoke better
don't
Hmong, I'd
know.
have some killer comebacks and some OGs.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I'm, dude, trust me, I'm good at that.
Yeah.
good.
That's a skill. That's
Yeah,
a skill.
it's a skill that I have built actually.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, because otherwise, I think in the Hmong community, they always trying to one up on you, right?
they're always trying to one up
thing.
you,
As
and they
opposed-
always like my father. Don't mean to talk smack about him, but he was more of the type to be like, you can't do it without me,
Yeah.
or like with all Hmongs, generally speaking, and a lot of them do this where it's like they try to they gauge you, they'll size you up, and then they will test your Hmong. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
They would test the hell out of you.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I mean, it wasn't that, I was older now, but at a really young age, it's like, dude, you fucking with me because it's ageism. I'm just a lot younger than you.
Yeah.
But watch, you know what I'm saying? Because I know that I'm young and I have the capabilities and the potential to learn much easier than you. So I'm gonna be smarter than you eventually.
Yeah.
And I'm still young enough, and I still value these old tradition enough to want to know.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, give me a couple years, give me
Yeah.
a couple years, and when they try to be smart,
Yeah.
That's-
I wish I,
yeah.
I wish I had
Yeah.
some snarky
Yeah.
comeback, but like usually,
Yeah.
man, some OG say something slick to me, I'm just like whatever.
Yeah.
One like I don't- like
Yeah,
similar to you, I don't
that
have like
too.
a great response.
Yeah.
But also I'm just kind of like, dude, your life sucks, man.
Yeah, and-
you know
and-
what?
and more
Don't-
people, they-
like
they-
I'm gonna let you have that because your
Yeah.
life sucks. Whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
more people they will never give you a direct answer too. They'll always give you the beat around the bush. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
why do I even care?
Yeah.
I don't care if you tell me or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And well, like, so most of the time they just want to fuck with
I
you.
feel like
Yeah.
that's one thing that our generation has
Yeah.
lacked having is Hmong men that we can look up to.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Not
Yeah.
just by the success or
Yeah.
financial gains they might have
Yeah,
gained,
yeah.
but by also their character and traits. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
We, and that's why I think I don't sit here and say that we got that.
Yeah.
But we're more aware, and
More
hopefully
aware.
we can
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
that down to the
Yeah.
next generation. Where like,
Yeah.
and I feel like we have done a better job
Yeah.
because to me, I'm 35, my employees are 20. I talk to Hmong kids who are 17, and I never felt that much disconnect.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
like, oh shit,
yeah.
what's up? What
Yeah.
you watching lately?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
hot on TikTok? Like,
Right.
I can connect with you much quicker than I think
Yeah.
the OGs could connect with us.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so
Yeah,
there
for
is
sure.
probably, I mean, the truth is we grew up in different countries, different
Yeah.
cultures
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So there is that as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what we missed in our generation. Like I wish there would have been more Hmong guys where it could be like,
Yeah.
hey, look at this great entrepreneur CEO who's also an athletic guy who also talks to young people and is
Yeah.
very open and not afraid to share his failures and his success. Like
Yeah.
I can't think of that many Hmong guys like that, you know.
Right.
They exist, but
Yeah. I think. Oh, okay. Oh shit. I think that might be our guy. But
Okay, yeah.
no.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going here. I got a few more things for you though.
Yeah.
Shit. What was I gonna ask? How as 30-year-olds?
Yeah.
As 30-year-olds too, like, you know, and I listened back to the podcast with years, like as 30-year-olds, like, what is our role? Because we're gonna be leading the culture soon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
At some point, we're gonna be the guy sitting at the table, or we're gonna be at the guy in front of the table,
Yeah.
right? Leading that. It's like, what is our role in preservation of Hmong culture,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then how do we do it in a way where it's inviting, maybe more inclusive of young people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because that's important. Because that's a conversation being had right now. Like,
Yeah.
how do we continue to preserve our Hmong culture,
Yeah.
right? And then what is our role? Because in 20 years, 10, 20 years,
Yeah.
we're the guys at the end of the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're the guys sitting at the tables, right? I
Right.
mean, we already are sitting at the table,
Yeah.
but like we're going to be the guys leading those conversations.
Right.
And so I guess like what is our role and what is our duty as like young 30-year-olds or, you know, 30-year-olds?
I wouldn't say that there's any roles or duties. I think that's personal. What
Yeah.
you want to push forward is personal. I grew
Yeah.
up pretty non-traditional in Europe, next to really no Hmong people. So I think like the St. Paul experience to me was a totally new experience.
shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd never seen an ATM with Hmong on it
Yeah.
until I moved here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to me, I come from a different area, but I think what I can do is at least just is whenever I have kids is first of all traditional stuff. I'll tell you right now, I'll be the last one to understand how it works,
Yeah.
but I do seek to know. I do
Yeah,
seek
yeah.
to know because
Yeah.
it's important.
Right.
So I think all I can do for my kids in the future is just making them aware of what it
Yeah.
is, the story. And that's probably the extent of honestly what I will do. Like I don't see myself going to the 18 clan leaderboard. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
that'll be me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And everybody's
yeah,
got
me
their
neither.
own.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own way of doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be that. I already know I will never be that.
Yeah.
I think it's how you see yourself first.
Yeah,
right?
it's how you see
Yeah,
yourself.
I was
Yeah.
just talking to my brother-in-law a couple of weeks ago, where I was telling him that, in terms of Hmong culture and traditions, right, and religion, if you want to call it that, I do want to know the basics of what a Hmong houseman should know. For example, how hubli,
Yeah.
hubli,
Yeah.
how chế個什麼冇乜書學話who got 白工藥工聽
Right.
就流流 no nah. That I do want to learn. 學嚟睇聽 that I do want to learn, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's very basic stuff, especially
Yeah.
if you still find value in that,
Yeah.
is what we should know.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do want to learn that and want to know and find value on it. And like I said, teaching the younger cats, you just gotta be compassionate.
Yeah.
And I think how you do that is actually telling stories.
Yeah.
Telling
Yeah, yeah.
origins. Kind of like with Ving is the food. He tells stories
Yeah.
about his
Right,
food,
right.
Yeah.
And then, and I think that, me and my dad, one time he said that, I forgot what we got into. Well, it was about hunting, and I didn't want to go hunting, and he's
Yeah.
a hunter. He's like, how come you're not interested in what I'm interested in? He said that to me.
Yeah.
I couldn't answer that. I was like,
Yeah.
that's so confusing.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Very
I don't even understand that question because, and then now I think back, it's like, if he would have told me how to hold a gun,
Yeah. Yeah.
aim
Yeah.
it, he's like, 你到那個作你攞，頭個膊有老公手啊，個度啊，個度來度做那。Yeah,
Yeah.
if he taught me in a very compassionate way like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But then it's
never that
it-
way.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
yelling.
Going back to what we were
Yeah.
talking about, it's like, 我要多拳壓力啊, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I'm good at
Yeah.
this. Same thing with fishing. When he took me fishing, you guys ever been fishing North Dakota?
No,
yeah.
you with the
Devil's
big,
Lake?
yeah,
Yeah.
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 I haven't been, but yeah.
I haven't,
have
but
an
I know
idea.
the
Okay,
big
but anyway,
stripe.
we were the OGs. We're the Hmong pioneers that went fishing at Devil's Lake, which
Yeah.
created the whole trend. And before what it is right now, it was unconstructed.
Yeah.
Everything was just like flatlands. It goes like big boulders go down to about 2 stories down to the lake, and you have to climb down there, fish, and then you can't bring the coolers down there. So you have to bring the fish all the way back up to where you park your cars and keep making that trip. And these were my first experience fishing. And I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I was the kid that was.
That sounds like
and-
work.
And
Yeah.
I said, my dad would took more time to just like,
Yeah.
you know, and would catch it. You know, you
Yeah.
got to, play with the angles too. If he taught me like that, I would have hella enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
have hella enjoyed it, but
Yeah.
I wasn't. And going back to the topic of how do we instill like these home cultures, you gotta find value in, and then let them try it. Even if they, like say just plant the seed.
Yeah.
Plant
Right.
the seed and be compassionate, or give them time to grow, water it.
Yeah.
bloom
Right,
it,
right.
And I think definitely that's what I was missing.
Yeah.
But my brother, he loves hunting and fishing. 'Cause
Yeah.
he was the
Yeah.
little brother. He sat there and watched me do all the shit.
Yeah.
You took all the you took all the heat.
Yeah. So
And I would say like similar but different. Like to both of you guys. Like I grew up in a less than traditional household.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
father left when I was like pretty young. So then like I didn't grow up
You
and
guys are a
then so
Christian
when-
family, aren't you?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But when our father left, like so did like the her side.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So then I never went to like any of these events, like these Hmong events. So like I didn't go to like my first Hmong event and see one like what actually happens until like I was like 20.
yeah.
So like I didn't understand this like table thing. I didn't understand I knew people drank a lot
Yeah.
at these events,
Right.
because people
Too
say, but like
much.
I never
Yeah.
actually like attended these things.
Yeah.
So then like I don't, like it doesn't really resonate with me. And then even now, like I don't have like that.
But aren't there different house rules? I swear, I feel like I
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
different places and I'm like,
Oh, for sure.
that rule didn't apply
Yeah.
at the last place.
Yeah, but, like,
I
I-
said, people fuck
yeah.
with you, dude.
Yeah, like,
It's
I
built
didn't-
on
yeah.
politics, man.
but it's like it's almost
Yeah.
like I've seen it just enough to
Right.
be like, where's the rule book? Because everybody's got a
Everybody's
different
got a
standard.
different-
Yeah.
yeah.
This guy told me pour this way. This
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
told me pour
yeah.
this way. So
It's really a game.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
So it's-
it's,
but I think that's how it is, though.
Yeah.
If you think about like back in the day, like I got the chance to go to Laos last year, and I think it's what it is because when you're from village to village without no internet or no communication that can go across, it's just stories being passed down, like we say, and that's the majority of what Hmong is. Hmong is
Yeah.
story, folklore.
Right,
So it's
right.
like, yeah, you heard it this way,
Yeah.
so then you the elder of the village, so then everybody does it this way, but then you go to the next town over and you don't do it that way, and it's like, who's right, who's wrong? Nobody's wrong.
Yeah.
No, this is their
Nobody's
own
wrong.
way.
It's just different ways. Yeah.
It's just the way,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, it's confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
no,
hella
yeah. So like,
confusing.
I didn't get to it till I was like 20, and so like, the clan, I think everybody likes to talk about clans, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I didn't grow up with a clan. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. Like my joke is like when I meet other her people, it's like all the other Hmong her people know each other, but I don't know none of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like even now, like I don't like so I don't know. Like I joke about it now, but then I've always wondered like, man, who's gonna do my funeral? Like my wedding, I
Yeah.
had to do that on my own.
Oh,
and,
we'll
like,
come
my
to
father-
that.
My
We'll come
father-in-law-
to those crossroads
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah. Where it's just like, man, like
I don't even know
I
who to
don't-
go for when it's my dad's turn.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not
and
even
so,
sure
like,
how I'm gonna do
it's-
that yet.
Like, how do you navigate those things?
You just
you-
navigate as it is.
Yeah, you just
yeah.
show up to the
I'm
family
gonna call you
parties.
Joe.
I don't know.
You seem to know what you're doing, so I'm gonna call you.
you know,
like,
I'm
yeah.
still learning too
Yeah, yeah.
because like
We're putting this all on you now. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, a
you
little
look at-
bit.
Yeah,
a
my
little
Not
family
too
does,
much. Yeah.
But like what your family follows is,
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
always, right? And so like in funerals they have like do jocha, do etc. So it's a thing, right? Everybody has a role. Just recently my cousin's wife when your passed away, and the hukunsi jocha is the first time I ever gonna be doing anything traditional.
Yeah.
And I feel like that role is a very important role, and because they value that person who fulfills that role so much that they ask you to do it, right?
Yeah.
It's the person that is going to be feeding the deceased person in the next role, pouring the drinks for them, feeding
Yeah.
them, and that's what I'm going to do, and it's, man, just thinking about it, it's going to be complicated, but like,
Yeah.
Would you call that?
Jocha.
That's the person who feeds the deceased in the afterlife, in the following life.
No. So, for example,
No.
Okay, so it's kind of complicated. Well, anyway, Hoko is
Explain
when,
it.
so Hoko is like so back in the day you live in a small village.
Yeah.
So then you call the village to basically is giving a meal to the dead person.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone has to send it. Someone has to be the messenger, and it's like, hey, this and this, Payne came today. He's your nephew, and he brought you a chicken and this to bring to help you go to the afterlife. And then you do that for every single person that comes. That person is important.
Yeah.
And
Is that the guy collecting money?
no,
Oh, okay.
the guys collecting, they're just collecting money.
That's what I'm
Okay,
saying. I
okay.
need a
So,
rule
yeah.
book.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's gonna be the first time ever that I'm doing anything traditional.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it is my cousin and I. It's his wife, and him and I are close.
Yeah.
We're relationship. We have a really, really good relationship, and I think it's an honor and
Yeah,
honor
yeah.
to be able
Yeah.
to do it for them. Yeah.
And I'm so glad
Yeah.
that there are young people like you that
Yeah.
that are very aware and very knowledgeable
Yeah,
about
I think
these things.
I
just
think
because
we all
Yeah.
have lost a lot of family values because the relationship we have with our OGs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like I know a lot of cats, that are my age, more or less that can't even speak Hmong.
That's
They
me
can't-
right here.
can't even speak Hmong, and
Yeah.
and then going to talk about values. There's a lot of what they call it, reparation. No, like for the lack of words, there's gonna be a lot of repairing to do.
Oh, yeah.
making
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that connection with
Yeah.
these younger generation
Yeah.
that we didn't have with our OGs, and down the
Yeah.
rabbit hole,
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think that's so huge and that's so important. Like I think about that a lot now that I'm getting older because it's like my wedding, like, dude, like
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's say, yes, go
yeah.
to your family
Yeah.
events.
Yeah.
You'll eventually meet the right people.
yeah.
And you will find
No,
male role
and
models.
I'm
Yeah.
told that by my
Yeah.
pops all the time. Like
Yeah,
every time
it's
there's
true.
a load thing, you got to
Yeah.
show up, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm busy, I got this, I got
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But the truth is,
Yeah.
you do have to show up because,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
one example that I was bringing to my cousin because he's looking to get married soon,
Yeah.
but he's from France and he follows somewhat Islam culture, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's far away from Hmong, right?
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to him, I'm like, look, there's one thing I learned in my wedding. I don't understand shit about Hmong culture either,
Yeah.
so don't get me wrong, I'm in the same shoe as you.
Right.
But let me tell you one thing that I learned. When I had my Hmong wedding, the event cost us this much money,
Yeah.
and because everybody came, it basically they nullified the
Offset.
cost, right? They
Yeah.
offset the cost,
Yeah.
and that's when I started to understand it's not finances, it's support.
It's
It's
support.
community.
Yeah.
It's community
It's
support.
support,
And if
yes.
you don't go
Yeah.
support
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
then when it's your time,
Yeah.
no one's gonna come
Yeah.
support it.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
it took me until my wedding to really understand
Yeah.
and see it for
Yeah.
myself because I saw the book with the
Right.
names and I
Right.
counted the money myself,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, now I have a better understanding of what
Yeah.
it means
Yeah.
to be part of like your own community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it took me all
Yeah.
up until that point to really like make
Yeah.
it click in my
Yeah.
own head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind
But
of the
yeah.
same way, but like, here's the real question. Since then, have you gone
Nah.
to support?
I'm
No.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
Western in my own
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
I'm in that same boat, man. Like,
Yeah.
It's a learning.
both, like,
Everybody,
what I need to do,
everybody's
but,
got
like, yeah.
to learn
It's
at
okay.
different rates.
Do,
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do.
But I like
Yeah.
having these
Yeah.
conversations because at least we're having the conversations.
Yeah.
Versus OG back in the day,
For me,
you would have
you know,
we would get
yeah.
torn by an OG right
Yeah,
now for not
yeah,
knowing.
yeah, yeah.
Instead, I
Yeah.
can talk to you,
Yeah.
who knows more about the culture, and I can
Yeah.
ask you like, what is it? Tell
Yeah.
me, and then
Yeah.
you tell me, and I learn.
Right.
But-
I
but
don't
with
know
the
it all
OGs
too. Like so right now, I'm still learning. I'm
Yeah,
barely even
but you know more than
scratching-
me, and I can learn it
Yeah,
from you.
yeah,
Versus
yeah.
with the OG, I feel like
Yeah.
if I
They
asked,
just clown your ass.
exactly. I just
Yep.
get clowned,
Yeah, they just
and
clown your
then
ass.
what's that
Yeah.
gonna do? That's gonna make me defensive or
Yeah.
want to walk away.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So
True. Because me and my dad had this thing where like I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just gonna make the long story short.
Yeah.
Where like if I don't know something about cultural stuff or traditional stuff, right, and I go ask him, as my dad, hey, you know what his response always is? 同個老公冇包 all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, which don't log on. Like, dude, I feel like
Yeah.
mentally I'm somewhere else. Maybe
When-
not old, but
Yeah.
mentally I'm somewhere else.
No, but that makes it sound like
Yeah.
there's supposed to be a book that
Yeah.
just appears out of
and
thin
then
air
and then
when
and
you're
then when you go
speaking.
and do it, you don't know how to do it, and
You
everyone
don't.
clowns your
And
ass.
that's just how you learn.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then like you go and ask for help, and they just fire back at you. And shit like that, where
Yeah.
you know, like that's why we're losing connection
Right.
with
Yeah, we
Hmong
need to be
values
taught.
and with these younger generation detaching. I don't blame them. There's no wonder.
Yeah.
And then the Hmong OG is gonna complain about like, oh, Hmong somebody no man, like y'all ain't
Yeah.
teaching us and y'all don't want to tell us, and then we fucked up.
Yeah.
Y'all clown on us. It just goes.
Yeah,
you
you
know,
make-
it-
you
it's
make
like,
us-
it's a
you make
fucking
us butt
cycle
heads.
and cycle and
Yeah.
cycle.
Yeah, you
and
make
then-
us butt heads as opposed to just teach
trying
each
to
other.
just trying to break out of that too.
Yeah.
You know, and like to be.
I guess that's our
living-
job.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
that's our
Yeah.
generation's
Yeah.
job, huh?
Yeah, and that's our
It's,
job
it's
now.
to figure out how to share what the OGs wanted to tell us
Yeah.
to the generation past us, and we're
Yeah.
the medium
And this
and
is
find the right
this
way to
is where
communicate it.
evolution happens too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, and now that in our generation, if we do decide to continue with these old ways, it's gonna be different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's gonna
of
be
course.
completely, especially
Yeah.
with COVID that happened. I've seen funerals that have been done really different and really quick. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like shit, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
these
yeah.
3 or 4 day funerals on, you know, make you 5 because you still got to prep for it, and then all the way up until then. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Well,
work.
our
a lot of
generation
money,
is
you know?
different. Like, yeah, we just
Yeah.
think differently too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's also outside of our control where we
Right.
grew up. I think if we grew up in Laos, it'd be easier to
Yeah,
say, we can keep up.
Yeah.
But I mean, you take any Hmong kid, you take any black kid, you take any Mexican kid, you throw him in the middle of China, and you tell
Yeah.
me he's not gonna follow some Chinese.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's just
Right.
True.
our environment
Yeah.
was not.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to adapt.
We have to adapt.
It's gonna be evolution.
It's evolution.
Yeah, it's gonna
yeah.
be evolution.
That's why when people
It's gonna
say
be
like, "Are you
different.
afraid that Hmong?" People
Yeah.
ask me sometimes, "Are you afraid that Hmong language is gonna go?"
Yeah.
Like, I hate to be the guy who sounds cynical about it, but I'm like, honestly, I think it will go for the majority of it.
Yeah.
I've already seen it.
I've
in
already
France.
seen it.
Yeah, yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
it in France.
Yeah.
When I grew up,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason
Yeah.
I don't really speak Hmong.
Yeah.
I don't say it's because I don't want to
Yeah.
speak Hmong. Of course, I can learn it now as an adult because
Yeah.
now it's a conscious decision.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I
Right.
grew up, bro, there's no Hmong person around me,
Yeah.
like anywhere.
Yeah.
I lived in France.
Even the
Like,
way we speak Hmong is different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see younger, especially with Hmong American seniors, they have an accent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they have an accent
yeah.
in their Hmong language now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I definitely noticed
Well,
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I love this
Yeah.
conversation, but Hmong Anonymous.
Yep.
Let's get to that. Have you seen our Hmong Anonymous clips and stuff?
Nope.
Okay, so we do this thing called Hmong Anonymous, where are you familiar with the page Hmong Anonymous?
No.
Oh, it's just like people post like anonymously,
Yeah.
and then people kind of respond to like people
Yeah.
like spill
They
out like
just
personal
post
shit,
random crazy
Okay.
stuff.
and then
Okay.
we just kind of respond,
Serious
react to
stuff,
it,
sorry.
Yeah.
give advice, good or bad.
Yeah.
And they're usually freaking long, so I'm just gonna read like the first sentence and last sentence. And
Okay.
usually I have one prepared, but I
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to like really
Yeah.
look through one, so I'm just gonna read this first one, and then we just kind of react to it. Okay. So Hmong Anonymous, and I'm just the first and last paragraph. I found out that my sister-in-law is cheating on my hubby's brother.
Okay.
My sister-in-law is cheating on my hubby's brother. We both work at the same place. I caught her in a car with her coworker, and when I was out smoking on my break. I noticed that they had drove back together. When she saw me, she put on her clothes quickly. Let's see. When I walked into the building, I asked her why she was with D, I guess the guy's name. She said they went out for lunch, and she laughed at my face and told me to not get any funny ideas, and what she is doing is not illegal. Last paragraph. My sister-in-law and I both carpool together because we all live under the same roof with our in-laws. My husband and I are saving money to move out, but right now money is tight and we can't. I really want to change jobs because I don't want rumors to start and for people to mix me and her up. Should I find a new job? Should I tell my husband?
So okay, tell me who the main characters are in. Her hubbies.
It sounds like
So she's her husband's brother. They live in the same household,
Yeah.
and but she takes a ride to work with the sister-in-law.
sister-in-law.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she caught him cheating, but she also lives with them,
yeah.
and money's tight. so they don't
and
really want to
so-
move.
Yes.
There's a whole lot going on
So
here.
it's probably a situation where, like, they work together. She doesn't know whether or not she should tell her husband, but she's kind of in this dilemma where it's like, oh shit, like, if I don't say, I'm kind of wrong, like, in the wrong too, or things can be misconstrued if I don't say anything.
So what are we trying to tell her? We're trying to tell her what she should be doing.
Should she tell her
person?
husband? And should she find a new job? Yeah, for sure, find a new job.
Yeah.
Should she tell her husband? I think you do.
Who's cheating here?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So not her, the sister-in-law.
The sister-in-law is cheating.
On her husband's brother,
Okay. Okay.
right? And shit, I should have just read the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the sister-in-law is cheating on her husband's brother.
Uh-huh. And they're about to work together.
And then the two girls, they work together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They ride in the same car together to work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's trying to figure out if she should tell her husband that the husband's brother is being cheated on. Basically,
Yeah.
is what she's asking.
Yeah.
I would say you tell
I say you tell.
the husband and you let them figure it out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta let them.
Yeah, you
figure it
definitely
out.
don't go tell the husband's brother because
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you're just making drama. You
Yeah.
just tell the
Yeah.
brother and let the
Yeah.
brother figure out if
Yeah.
he should tell the brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think
That'd be
It's a tricky situation, but yeah, I'd tell him.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you don't like. I know there's. I don't know if it's the same thing with girls, but like the guy code of like not telling. But
Yeah.
you got you gotta at least tell your
I
partner.
mean, they're married.
Yeah,
right?
you're married.
Yeah.
Yeah, no secrets,
Yeah.
whatever. You
Yeah.
you tell them and you let your brother figure it out.
Right.
She should get a new freaking job. It's
Yeah.
probably, man. But
Yeah. It gets toxic like that.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then shit like.
Wait, why she got to get a new job? She ain't do nothing wrong.
Yeah, but you're gonna just continue working there, and
I would go get my own car first.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't quit
Yeah,
because I ain't
yeah.
quitting my job because
Yeah,
of somebody
yeah,
else's
especially-
problem.
yeah.
But I would go get my own car, so I can't
Yeah,
be
yeah.
making that an excuse. And it sounds like they live with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like that dilemma of like if I say too much, we're gonna get kicked out.
Yeah.
So
Right.
first, maybe you write it out for 3 months, but you save as much
Yeah.
money as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. As soon
Go
as
on
you
your
get
own,
out
and then
there,
you can
yeah.
say whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Tell everybody
Yeah.
as soon as you leave.
That shit wild, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
We don't know if these are real or if they're fake. We
Yeah.
just talk about them because
I-
they tend to always make other people
Yeah.
Yeah.
want
And
to.
then
Everybody always has opinions, which
yeah,
is
we
funny.
usually just kind of react to it
Yeah.
or respond to it.
Yeah.
And then
They're usually drama. Sometimes they're good though. Sometimes they're
Yeah.
less drama, and sometimes they're more like legit life lesson type stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
but most of
this
the
one
time-
just sounds like drama.
I
Yeah,
hate
I didn't get a
drama,
chance. I
man.
just
Yeah.
go down and read
I
the
can
first,
tell. I
the
can
first
tell, yeah.
Drama, I hate
Well,
drama.
it's not only that, but we're talking about hypothetical drama. We don't even
Yeah,
know if it's real.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're always good talking point because I feel like people do go through that.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah.
we're even
Yeah.
though it is hypothetical,
Yeah.
we don't know. It could be
Yeah.
like
Right.
legit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And not having a name or like a face to it, it makes it
We
easier
can.
to also make fun of
Yeah,
them.
we
Yeah.
couldn't talk
'cause
about
could
it if
crack
we
jokes
knew.
about it, but
Yeah.
Then we'd be haters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate cheating stories.
Yeah.
And cheating movies.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
triggering to me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super
Some-
triggering.
some
to
No,
me.
it's true. Don't get in it if you weren't ready for it,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Don't get in it if if you wanted to get in it and you wanted to still be able to sleep with somebody else and your
Yeah.
wife was cool with it and
Yeah.
and it was an open relationship.
Yeah.
Like if you're in an open relationship, I mean, I'm not saying you have to agree or disagree
Yeah.
because I can tell you,
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's a choice.
Right.
But at least you
Yeah.
established it at the beginning.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
But
Yeah.
but at least you
Yeah,
established it. Yeah.
Sure, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, as long as it has to be established.
There
from
has
the
to be
beginning.
integrity no matter what.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what? Fuck that bitch.
Yeah,
Man.
and now if you're
cut ties with her.
and
Fuck
now if
that
you're
bitch.
you're beating around the bush about it, now that gets a little bit scandalous.
Yeah. No, you can't
Yeah,
do that. It has
yeah,
to be
yeah,
integrity
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
it's,
yeah.
Integrity is the biggest
I
thing.
mean, it would go. Would it make a difference if it was two guys in that situation where it's like?
No, it's
alright,
the same vice versa. You
But,
don't
yeah, they
do it
cheat
in
on
the
you.
first
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
But
So if your guy's cheating on his girl, are you gonna tell your girl that?
if I knew
that-
that Mike,
Let's say your wife's friend
yeah.
and her significant other is also your friend.
Oh,
or
he's like
buddy,
cheating on her.
cheating on
Yeah.
her. Are you
Yeah.
gonna
No,
tell
I
your
ain't-
wife?
would I tell my wife? Yeah, I mean, it's my wife, dude.
Yeah.
It's my wife. That's my
Yeah.
number one.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, I
It's,
still
it's
tell
a
it.
no-brainer, you know.
I
and,
still tell
and
it.
it's too much of a burden on me to carry the
Yeah,
secret
yeah,
along.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
fuck, it's
So-
eating me up inside.
So
Yeah.
what we're saying
Yeah.
here, sorry, I'm
Yeah.
just like stirring up drama for the purpose of the
Yeah.
conversation, but no bro code.
Yeah.
No, there is no bro code once you get married, man. Bro
Yeah.
code changes to married code.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I respect that. I
because,
respect that.
Once you
Yeah,
marry,
yeah.
it completely changes.
Yeah, it becomes married code.
You know, I protect my wife before I protect my friends.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And,
Yeah.
my values changed.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and
The bro code is easy to go by before you're married.
yeah, what if my wife cheated on me? None of y'all gonna tell me?
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
exactly,
None of y'all gonna tell
exactly.
me.
Yeah.
Y'all really kept it to yourselves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's wild.
It's how I see it, you know. And one, it'll be karma, and number two, that's hypocritical.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So.
It'd be hypocritical for sure if like
Yeah.
you expect the girl to tell, but like as guys, like we don't.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
so-
Bro
So no
code.
bro code out the window.
Yeah.
That's
Bro code
yeah.
out the window. Bro
Yeah.
code is for the other things.
Yeah.
Bro was for when we were younger
We were
dudes.
like-
We were chilling. We
yeah.
were trying to court women.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like that no more. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's absolutely not like that
Yeah.
no more. You know. And
Under 30, maybe bro code.
yeah,
Over 30.
I don't
No,
think
it's
there's
just
an
even
age
it's just
to
based
it.
when you're
Yeah.
married. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just completely different.
But bro
you
code's
know?
personal too. Somebody
Yeah.
could, you know,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
bro. Everybody's bro code's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's layers to it.
It
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
depends
There's a
on
lot of
what you
layers
want to.
to it,
Yeah, it
you
depends
know,
on what
and-
you want to ride with in your own mind. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
I like a
Right.
free mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like
and
a-
there's like I said, there's different levels to bro code too.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
like
Maybe you should write that book,
yeah.
Pang. Why don't you write the bro code
not,
book?
Not a lot of
No.
like keeping shit
Hey,
away
not,
from.
it's not my belief. I'm just you know
Yeah,
I'm just
I
taking
know,
a
I know.
side
You're
for the,
talking.
for the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
conversation.
Create a
Okay,
conversation.
all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's well, yeah, we're coming up on
Yeah.
an
Okay.
hour and 55.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Cool.
All right. Hey, thank you, man.
Yeah,
You
guys.
got anything
The last
to plug?
thing, the last
Yeah.
thing too is I always just tell people if they want to find you or find out more about you, whether it be your business or personal, or where's the one place that they can find
Yeah.
you.
So I prefer Facebook.
Yep.
Find me at Jameson Vane. No one calls me Jameson, but that's my alias on Facebook. Jameson Vane, just exactly how it sounds.
Jameson, like the drink. Okay.
Yep. And then my Facebook page, Your Boy Sach. Instagram, Your Boy Sach. TikTok, Your Boy Sach. Come find me. Come holler at me. Yeah, come get to know each other, man.
Yeah,
I like
well-
chatting too. Still learning, you know. Don't know it all, but know enough.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, look out for my new content, cooking videos. Like I said, I'm thinking about doing something in the media side of the cannabis industry too,
Okay.
as a connoisseur or as a critic. So
Oh, please do,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I'll tune in. I might
Yeah.
need some recipes from you.
Yeah, just not
Yeah.
cooking, but then just I like to smoke the bud. The bud's my preferred smoke. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
my preferred
yeah.
high, so
Yeah.
and I love the pastime of it
Oh,
too.
anything
so.
you do cannabis related, let me know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So look out for that as well. Eventually, it's gonna happen, but otherwise, stay tuned. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming
Thank
on.
you for coming,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.